B'Shem Hashem Naaseh v'Natzliach, Shiur Torah, Baruch Hashem. Glad to be here again, having Torah, doing another shiur with you guys. We are today, Baruch Hashem, up to MUSSAR Pirkei Avot 114. This is the second part of the same Mishnah that we started last week. Last week we started the Mishnah in Avot. Hey Tet Zayin. Hey Tet Zayin is 5:16, which talks about tzedakah, talks about the people's treatment of money, their attitude towards money. This is one of those Mishnayot, no different than really anything else, but this is one of those Mishnayot that it all depends on how deep you want to go into it. Technically, you could spend the rest of your life, not the rest of the day, not the rest of the week, and not even the rest of the year. The rest of your life just studying this Mishnah. Because the attitude that we have towards money has many, many branches and many, many roots of where it connects and how it connects in our tshuva, in our mitzvot, in our ma'asim. Good deeds or bad deeds are always connected to money. Our attitude towards the people around us is usually connected to money. If somebody's rich, typically most people will try to treat them fairly. Will try to treat them good. And that's because we're superficial and shallow and quite frankly don't have da'at Torah. So we judge people based on their money. We see somebody is rich, automatically, oh yeah, you got to respect them. Now technically the Torah says, the Ramban writes also, in Igeret Ramban, Ramban with the N, Nachmanides, that if somebody has wealth, you're supposed to respect them. But he wasn't referring to the extent of what some people take it, where they kiss up. Kissing up is never allowed. Even more so if the person is Rasha. If the person's Rasha, the Gemara says that a person that kisses up to such a person is making a sin from the Torah. Not let to kiss up to Rashaim, regardless of whether they have money or not. So Be'ezrat Hashem, this shiur will also be for Refuah Shlema, for Levana bat Sarah, Sarah bat Levana, Doris bat Jora, David ben Nesriya, Chaim ben Sarah, Ayla bat Sarah, Dvorah bat Mercedes, Elisheva, Chaya bat Sarah, and Be'ezrat Hashem, all of Am Yisrael will have Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. Now, the Mishnah here is extraordinary, very, very interesting. There's a lot of sources, a lot of interesting things that we can go into. But of course, we always have to connect things to our day-to-day life. This is one of the special siyata dishmayot that Hashem Barach has had chesed enough to give us, to be able to each week be able to see how, regardless of what the shiur is about, it could be about the Mishnah in Avot, Parashat Shavua, questions about God, some random shiur. Always we see how Baruch Hashem connects it to our life personally. Hashem connects it to the world at large. Hashem does so many chasadim for us. It's mamash. It's a katonti mikol chasadim umikol ha'emet. It's too much already. It's unbelievable. Meaning that Hashem is making it as clear as day what is right and what is wrong. Now, even though we all know what's right and wrong, betoch tocha, you know what's right and wrong. Be inside you, you know what's wrong. And it doesn't mean because you're Jewish, even if you're not Jewish. Everyone knows the difference between right and wrong, unless they're Baal Mum, unless they have some type of a mental deficiency of some kind. They're sick. We're not talking about them. Which, by the way, you should know, the Mekubalim say that the people that have the Baalei Mum, whether it's autism or it's any type of retardation or things of that nature, are very high-level neshamot. Very high-level neshamot that have a very small tikkun left in this world. And they were brought to the world in a certain level of incapacity so they don't ruin what they already built. So in essence, they just come here to do something specific, whatever that may be. Usually they don't live very long. And but they're very special people that have a small amount, usually tzaddikim, small amount of work left in this world. And that's why the people that are mumchim, that are experts in the field of autism, and I've actually found that in recent generations they found a way to communicate with them. And I'm talking about not the ones that are autistic, but at the same time, are able to function in the world. I actually have a few students that are autistic, that are very functional, very normal people, that quite frankly, I didn't know they were autistic until they told me. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that are different. And there is a way that you can communicate with them through computers. And in some of the cases, they recorded these conversations. Very interesting what they say about how much they know about Olam HaEmet, the real world, what happens after you die, the need for everyone actually to do tshuva. There's a very famous one that actually was documented saying that he's actually a tzaddik that only had a small avera to fix, saying Lashon Hara, and he came for a tikkun. Now, he didn't make Lashon Hara his whole life. One avera he had. One time he sinned, he did Lashon Hara, so he had to come back, tikkun. And they said, aren't you suffering? He goes, no, I'm great. I feel bad for you guys. You have a lot more work than me. You have a lot more tshuva to do. I mean, I only have one more, I'm a tzaddik, he says. B'met. I saw this. It's unbelievable. So anyway, the average person knows the difference between right and wrong, but also has the yetzer hara. Now, it all depends on how much you let the yetzer hara run your life. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says that when a person gets angry and he acts on it, he acts out on the anger, you should judge him as a oved avodah zarah. You should judge him as an idol worshipper. Why judge him as an idol worshipper? He says because if he's already acting out his anger and he's breaking things and he's yelling and screaming and cursing and he's acting like an animal, then that means he's listening to all of the instructions of the yetzer hara. So the way of the yetzer hara, the Gemara says, Masechet Shabbat, it says today he tells him this, tomorrow he tells him this, the next day he tells him this. Every day he takes him a different way and he listens. And eventually he's going to say, come, no, worship Yeshu. Worship Yirach Shemo V'Zichro. Worship a rabbi. Worship a person. Worship a rat. Worship a cow. Worship something that's not God. And since you got used to listening to yetzer hara, Hashem Yerachem, you're going to worship him. Such is the danger of not fixing our middot and thinking, like I thought most of my life, oh, well, I'm just an angry guy. No, so it happens. Like it's acceptable. It's not acceptable under any condition. There are certain leniencies when a person starts doing tshuva. The Gemara in Masechet Chagigah says, a person starts doing tshuva, he actually becomes more fiery. So if he gets angry, don't judge him too harshly because he's getting fire. He doesn't know how to control it yet. He doesn't know how to control it yet. But if a person is a talmid chacham, he's already learning for years and he's already doing for years and he's still acting like an animal, then the Gemara says, a talmid chacham with bad middot, nevela srucha tova mimeno. A dead animal in the middle of the street is better than him. What is he like? What is the talmid chacham like? The Gemara says, he's like the ring you put around the nose of a pig. A gold ring you put on the nose of a pig. Why? His Torah is gold, but he's still a pig. Nothing's going to change. If he doesn't do tshuva, he's still a pig. With the nose ring being gold and diamonds and everything, he's still a pig. That's not talmid chacham. So that's why, Rabotai Karim, working on our middot, ze kol ha'adam. That's what the Chachamim says. The Gaon Mivilna says, ze kol ha'adam. That's all of you. If you live the whole life without fixing a middot, what'd you come for? That's what the Gaon Mivilna says. What'd you come to the world for? You didn't do anything. You didn't fix anything. You're still the same angry, cheap, bal gava, jealous, still have all these bad middot. You didn't fix anything. What's the point of you? So, primarily one of the things that we see that the Yetzer Hara infiltrates our minds with to justify our behavior, justify our bad middot, justify our actions against Hashem, is a result of our attitudes towards money. Our attitude towards money is one of the primary tools that the Satan, the Malach HaMavet, the Yetzer Hara, all the same, uses to influence our perception of the world and justify our bad behavior. So, for example, when a person kisses up to a certain person that has a lot of money and ignores what the Gemara says that you're not allowed to kiss up to people that have bad middot, that are wicked. You're not allowed to kiss up to them, even if they have money. He says, yeah, but he's rich. Oh, so you learn the part that you're supposed to actually, pay respects to people that are rich. You learn that part from the Torah. But how come you didn't learn the other part, that you're not allowed to kiss up to somebody that's wicked? How come you didn't learn that part? How come you only learn the part that's convenient to you? Oh, because he's going to give you a job. Oh, because he's going to give you a loan. Oh, because he's going to donate to your Bet Knesset. Oh, he's going to donate to your irgun. He's going to donate to your organization $1 million. So you could kiss up to them, and even though he drives on Shabbat, even though the guy is cheating on his wife or beats his wife, you're still it's okay. So you didn't learn that part of the Gemara. You only learned the part that's convenient for you. So this is a person that's a naval birshut Torah. This is a person that's despicable with permission from the Torah. Why? He uses only the part that's convenient to him. And the reason for that is because his attitude towards money is no less than idol worship. He loves money so much, he's willing to replace his God for it. And I specifically say his God because his God is replaceable. Our God is not replaceable. Anyone that believes in the God of Israel knows that God is not replaceable. So when a person starts worshiping money to such an extent that he forgets what's right and wrong, is a person that's misken, is a person that's a very, very lowly level, because he doesn't realize that he's spiritually sick. To be sick is okay. We're all sick to some extent. We have a bad midah. We have certain aspects of us that need a cure. To be sick is okay. It's actually expected. That's why you're still in this world. To deny it is the problem. To deny that you're sick is the problem. So, in today's world, unfortunately, one of the things that I see that's very, very dangerous, that's happening as a result of our attitudes towards money, is how people are treating Christianity and even the presidency right now. People look at the Christians today and they say, oh, look, they're investing so much money in Israel. Look, they're investing so much money in Jews. Look, they say they love us. Look, they're really nice. Look this and look that. And they forget about the fact that Yaakov Avinu already told us 4,000 years ago, Atzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. Hashem, save me from the hand of my brother, save me from the hand of Esav. Now his brother and Esav are the same person, so what is he saying here? He says, when he's Esav, I'm not so scared. Why? Why I'm not so scared? Because I know he's trying to kill me, only my body though. When he's Achi, that's when he's dangerous. Why? He's pretending to be my brother. He's pretending to love me. He's pretending to invest in me. In reality, at the end, what is he trying to do? He's trying to convert me to Christianity. He's trying to convert me to become Reform. He's trying to convert me to go against Hashem with a smile on. He's much more dangerous. So that's why it says, Atzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. Save me from my brother, save me from Esav. The brother part comes before Esav. Why? He's more dangerous. He's much more dangerous. So in today's world, Hashem Yerachem, Rabotai Yekarim, we're seeing that the Christian world for the first time in history is pretending to be our brothers. For 2,000 years, they were very busy killing us. And as much as this is hard to hear, it was actually better off. we were better off being killed by the Christians than what they're doing today. Because at least during the Holocaust, the pogroms, the Inquisitions, the Bet HaMikdash, the first and the second one, and so on, they were killing bodies. And if the person was tzaddik, he goes to Olam Haba. Today, when they're converting Jews every day, they're killing neshamot. And you're seeing that for the first time in history, they're doing it pretending to be Jews. So they call themselves Jews for Jesus. They call themselves One for Israel. Yimach Shemam v'zichram. They call themselves Messianic Jews. Call themselves all types of names that fool the average person who is not into counter-missionary and that whole part of the world. Whether religious or not is irrelevant. Just simply understanding that Esav is very much alive and well. So when they come to you with a kippah on, or a nice little kippah on with a t-shirt, and they come to you and they say, oh, have you read Isaiah 53 about the suffering servant? Have you read Prophet Daniel chapter 9? And learn about the prophecy of the coming Mashiach and so on? You as an average Jew in Yerushalayim, you as an average Jew in Tel Aviv, you as an average Jew in New York, California, Florida, anywhere, you're like, you know what, to be honest with you, no. Why? Even if you went to yeshiva, your whole life, yeshiva generally don't teach prophets. We focus on the Chumash, the Ikar, and then after that we move on to Gemara. We move on to Shulchan Aruch. And through the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch and other things, we learn how the source for this is from this Navi, that Navi. There's different sources that we use, but we don't spend years and years learning the prophets like the Goyim do. Number one, it's because we don't learn Halacha from there. And number two, there's just so much time. So when a person is first introduced to these chapters and did not read the first 52 chapters of the prophet Isaiah, and the first time he ever got introduced to Isaiah is chapter 53, the missionary that's talking to him, that says he's a Jew himself, and could very well be halachically Jewish, because his mom is Jewish, can manipulate the conversation to such an extent that makes him think that, oh, we're talking about J.C. Penney over here. We're talking about Jesus. Now, this has been a problem for years. Now, as I've told you guys in recent months, it's taking a higher level where now they're doing it out in the open. At least in the old days, they were killing bodies. Then after that, they fast forward 2,000 years, they just did this conversion stuff behind the scenes. They would usually go to the Deburim and Amei Aratzot. They would go to the ignorant people. They would go to the Reformed Jews. They would go to the conservative. They would go to the Chilonim that don't know right, don't know left, don't know Torah yet, they haven't done Tshuva yet. And they show them something and it makes sense. Why does it make sense? Why does it make sense? Because their religion doesn't require any mitzvot. So in essence, what does it do? It enables the conservative, the reformed, the heretic, the Chiloni, all of those to continue living their life the same way. Nothing changed. They can still wear the t-shirt. They can still walk around half naked with a mini skirt. They can still be married to a non-Jew. They can still do whatever they want. They can still drive on Shabbat, eat taref. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So it's convenient. It's convenient truth. And now, unfortunately, what does it have to do with anything? Is that because of the Yetzer Hara is giving a last shot at the end of days to go all out on Am Yisrael, all of these people that are missionaries, that are idol-worshipping missionaries, whether they call themselves Messianic Jews or Christians or evangelical, is irrelevant. It's all the same thing. Anyone that believes in the New Testament is an idol worshiper. That's it. Doesn't make a difference what token name they have to themselves. Why? Because the New Testament itself has several different types of idolatry. So if you believe in the New Testament, it doesn't make a difference how you describe yourself. If you're evangelical or you're Lutheran or you're Catholic and Christian and Messianic, it doesn't make a difference. You believe in a book that says that God is three. You believe in a book that says that God had sex with a woman, Hashem Yachem. You believe in such stupidity. You're an idol worshiper. That's it. And stupid too, but aside from that, aside from stupid, it's the reality is this is what it is. Now the problem is that Hashem gave them a lot of money. Why? Because Satan has to have a lot of money in order to do what he needs to do. So now, Rabotai, these organizations literally have a bank account that doesn't end. And that's why you're seeing one for Israel, and the guy Yitzchak Shapiro, Yimach Shimo, and all of these missionaries, many of them are actually Jewish. There's also the lawyer for Trump, Sokolo, something like that. He's unfortunately a Messianic Jew, born to Jewish parents. They were Reform, and then Jews for Jesus came to him when he was still young, and convinced them that they're the truth. And he says, you know what, it sounded more true. He says it in an interview. It sounded more true. Why? Because when somebody sneezed in the Reform shul, and the rabbi, I don't know whether it was a male or female rabbi, but when the rabbi said, oh, God bless you. Oh, wait a minute, I don't believe in God. I said, this Reform Judaism, it can't be true. So when the guy had said Jews for Jesus, he told me that there is a God, and it's this guy. It made more sense to me. It made more sense to me. I don't blame him, unfortunately. He's a victim of Reform Judaism. He's a victim of this heresy. But he grew up, and he became very successful, and he became the main attorney representing Jews for Jesus. And then he got up to the ladder in corporate America. And even though he declared bankruptcy in the 1980s with $13 million in debt and $680,000 in assets, he got out of that. And the Satan ended up giving him a lot of money, tons and tons of money, to do the Satan's will and go up the corporate ladder to become a multimillionaire representing the Satan and his servants. And now he's promoting One for Israel, and he's also promoting this current administration, the Trump administration, in the name of Israel. According to most people, he's a Jew. Oh, this is good. Didn't you hear that the lawyer for Trump is Jewish? Yeah, I heard he's Jewish. The problem is he's a bigger enemy than the Arab with the knife. Why? The Arab with the knife is trying to kill the body. This so-called Jewish lawyer is trying to kill the neshamot, and that's why there's videos of him saying his main mission, what? Get all of Am Yisrael to convert to Christianity. How did he get this position? Money. And other people's, his attitude of money, and also other people's attitude of money. And this, Rabotai, is continuing, this infestation, this plague is continuing. And we see that Christianity is using money against us. And unfortunately, they have no end of it. And anytime they want to do a campaign, they don't have a campaign raising $1 million in 24 hours or $250,000 in 20 years. No. Money just comes in 24 hours a day. Millions and millions of dollars come in every day. Why? Because their number one job is to be evangelical. Evangelical, by definition, means you have to go recruit Jews. Recruit Jews away from Hashem, away from the Torah, and make them Christians. And this is a busha, Rabotai. This is an embarrassment for us. And the reason why is because Jews, Baruch Hashem, have never been so rich monetarily as they are today, with the exception of the generation of Shlomo HaMelech, when there was gold in the streets. Other than that, we've never been so rich. But yet, when you ask people to donate to actually make Jews more Jewish, nobody has any money. When you ask people to donate to make Jews go do tshuva, everybody's broke. Everybody's in between jobs. Everybody's check didn't clear yet. There's one guy tells me, hey, listen, I want to donate. Where should I donate? I said, the website. It's the same place you watch the shiurim, donate. Okay. 2 3 weeks pass. I don't really remember these things. He said, where do I donate? I said, just look at the previous message on the WhatsApp you asked me. I said, the website. Go to the website. What's the first time? If you can understand my shiurim, you can understand the message too. What's the problem? Okay, I'm going to donate. New 2 weeks pass. He never donated. Now 2 weeks pass. Where do I donate? So I just sent him the link. I send the link and you donate here. Oh, okay, I'm just waiting for a check to clear. I'm waiting for the check to clear. Check, I don't know. Apparently his bank account went all the way to zero. But yet he had the thought in his mind to ask me what to donate. I don't know. If my bank account went to zero, I'm not going to ask somebody where to donate. Instead, I'm going to ask somebody, can I have a loan? My bank account is at zero. I need to eat. My kids are going to go hungry. Hashem and Hashem. My bank account is at zero. I'm not thinking about donating. I'm thinking about surviving. I'm thinking if I'm going to have to eat my next door neighbor because I have no money in my bank account. I'm thinking maybe I need to go beat somebody up in the middle of the street to go feed little Ovadia and Sarah because I have no money in my bank. I'm not thinking about to send a text message on a phone that costs $200 a month. Where could I donate if I don't have any money? So whatever. So this is all show, though. This is all a show. This is part of the show. This is also part of my kaparat hamanot. All the sins that I made in my life, Hashem gives to me cheshbon. Midah keneged midah. So anyway, Rabotai, he said the check is clear. It's been, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months. I don't usually count, but this specific issue has been annoying enough for me to remember. It's been 3-4 months. The check hasn't cleared yet. I don't know. I think the check is for Mars. The check is for Mars. So the thing is, why do such things happen? Why? Why do such things happen? Because, Rabotai, the Yetzer HaTov in each one of you wants to donate. And wants to donate to the right cause. But when you have no schuyot, when you have no merits, because you haven't really done tshuva yet, you haven't even tried to do tshuva yet, the Yetzirah is going to go, the midat adin is going to go to Hashem. Hey, Hashem, absolutely not. Let him donate to the Red Cross, no problem. Let him donate to saving the panda. Let him donate to funding the organization within the U.S. government that researches what do horses feel like when you throw them out of a plane. There's a budget of $15 million a year for what do horses feel when you throw them out of a plane and they skydive. There's a budget, $15 million. I'm not sure. I don't make things up. There's actually there's an organization that does research to see. Nothing is made up. Everything is true. You can check this out after the shiur if you want to. There's an organization, $15 million budget. What do horses feel when they are skydiving? Let them donate to that. But to go make a Jew more Jewish, chas v'shalom Hashem. Cannot. Why? He has no merits. He's worshiping the money. He still hasn't fixed his middot. He cheats on his wife. He cheats on his customers. He cheats on you, Hashem. He has no merit. Why? Because you wrote in your own Torah, you said to the prophet Jeremiah, what'd you say? Im taviya karmi zolel kepitiye. If you make somebody do tshuva, you make him precious, when he used to be Hashem and what he was, you're going to be like my mouth. What does it mean you're going to be like my mouth? Everything you say, Hashem has to fulfill. Why? You're special. You return one of my children back home. So sometimes, as frustrating as it is, when you see that people are not able to donate, they're not able to donate, and it's not because of money. It's because they have no merits. So you feel bad for them. You feel bad for them. It's hard to feel bad for them because it's annoying. But you have to feel bad for them. Why? Because Hashem Yachem, imagine being at such a lowly level, you don't have merit to even give $20, to give $200, to give $2 million, whatever you have, everybody relative to everybody. Or sometimes the guy makes $100,000 a month and he donates $50. Okay, so he has a merit. He has a merit. He got the $50 in, but he's skinned. You have to feel bad for him. So this, Rabotai, all has to do with our attitude towards money, which we'll go into. But that's also the reason why Christianity and all of the fake causes within Judaism get an enormous amount of money. You see different organizations that have never made a single Baal Tshuva. Never made a single person make a mitzvah. If they made a mitzvah, it was by accident. You see them raising money like it's sand. We're raising $100,000 in the next 3 hours for a new shul, even though there's 87 shuls on the same block. Within 2 minutes, they got the 100,000. Oh, we're gonna have a bonus round. What? As much as we can get. The guy tried to raise 100,000. He raised 500. For what? Who knows? Maybe a new kitchen for himself, a new car, a new this. We're raising $1.5 million to, I don't know, help some kids go hang out with us, eat pizza all day, and pretend like they're learning Torah. Boom, 24 hours, $1.5 million. For what? For eating pizza? Buy the pizzeria already. No, it's a Torah program. It makes them more religious. What makes them more religious? Your own video, you see these people, they're not religious at all. But they get the money. Why? Because each one of the people wants to give tzedakah. The Yetzer HaTov says, give tzedakah. But Yetzer Hara says, yes, you're allowed to give tzedakah. It's not the right cause. Give it to the center that makes people make more sins. Makes people worship rabbis. Makes people worship J.C. Penney. Makes people worship more money. Makes shiurim about money. All day people talk about, oh, listen, if you do this skula, you'll make more money. If you do this skula, you'll make more money. If you do this skula, you make more money. All day they talk about money. What about if you do this skula, you become tzaddik? What about if you do this skula, you learn about yirat shamayim? What about if you do this skula, you actually become a righteous person that's not really going to care about money? How about that? Anyone that understands the test of money knows that, honestly, you shouldn't want money. Why? It's a very big test. It's a much more difficult test to have a lot of money than not have money. Much more difficult test. Because the Yetzer Hara will use all that money against you. They'll use it to give you more tests. The things that you can do with money are much more dangerous than the things that you can't do with money. And that's also the reason why you see most of the religious people in every congregation, in every religion even, in every religion, la'avdil, but in every religion, most of the religious people are poor. The less material you have, the easier it is to connect to Hashem Yitbarach. Now, we don't necessarily need to be the Baal Shem Tov or the Chafetz Chaim that pray for poverty. But if you're going to pray for money, make it the last prayer. First prayer should be to get closer to Hashem. First prayer should be to do what Hashem wants, to make Him happy, to fulfill your tshuva, to do something meaningful in life, to make your wife happy, your husband happy, your children happy, to become talmid chacham, to learn something in this life other than your job, other than do all the things that you do. Pray for something meaningful. Ribono shel olam, you pray all day. All day people pray. Rarely do you ever hear them pray for something meaningful. Everybody pray. You have 1,000 people praying. Money, 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 avodah zarah. Money, money, avodah zarah. Money, money. Pray for something meaningful. When was the last time you prayed to be a talmid chacham? When was the last time you prayed to actually have mamash yirat shamayim? Mamash yirat shamayim. To really believe that Hashem is here now. When was the last time? Did you ever pray for that? I'm telling to myself. This is also because our ta'ava for money, our desire for money is out of control. Out of control. And it's ruining us. So the Mishnah in Avot started saying, Arba middot benotet tzedakah, notnet tzedakah. There are 4 types of donors to charity. And the sages explain, Rav explains, that this is a Mishnah that's referring to 4 different types of attitudes towards money, towards giving money. Attitude towards taking money, we don't need a Mishnah about that, because everyone likes to take money. Attitude about giving money, that's going to show who you really are. How do you treat money? Why? Because if you love it, by default, you're not going to want to give it. If you love money, automatically you inherit the midah of kamtsanut, of cheapness, stinginess. Why? When you love something, you don't want to give it away. If you love money, you're not going to want to share it with anyone. Because you love it. You love your kids. You don't want to, have them sleep away in sleep-away camp for 6 months. You want them to be next to you. You love your wife. You don't want her to show herself to the whole street and how she looks naked all day. You want her to protect herself. You want her to be modest. The guys that want their wives to walk around half naked with the long wigs and everything, that's only because they don't love their wives. They love all the other wives. All the other wives, they're looking because they figure, but the wife can't tell them anything. The wife can't tell them, oh, why are you looking at her? Why are you looking at the rabbanit that looks like a prostitute? Why are you looking at the prostitute himself that looks like the rabbanit? Why are you looking at all these women? She can't tell them anything. Why can't she? Because she looks like them also. The wig is to the floor, the tank top is on, She has a skirt that's so tight you think it's another layer of skin, but she thinks it's a skirt, so it's a yotzei midei chova. She met because it's a skirt, that means it's okay. No. If your skirt is so tight that it's mamash become another layer of skin, it's better you wear pants. If your skirt is so short that as soon as you sit, everybody sees your business, it's better you wear pants. Now, of course, you're not allowed to wear pants. But if that's what it's going to look like, better you wear pants. It's like the chachamim say, if somebody does tshuva, but he doesn't have a rabbi. Mishnah in Avot says, Aseh lecha rab, make yourself a rabbi. What if he doesn't want a rabbi? He wants to be his own rabbi. The chachamim say it's better he doesn't do tshuva. If he doesn't have a rabbi, it's better he doesn't do tshuva. Why? Before, he was chiloni. He was secular. And he was making mistakes. He doesn't know what the purpose of life is. He doesn't know anything. But most of it is because of ignorance. Not because he's a hater of Hashem or he's such a bad person. Doesn't absolve him from the sin, but the point is that it's a certain level of sin. But now that he did so-called tshuva, but he has no direction, he has no rabbi telling him right or wrong, then he's become a walking, living chilul Hashem. He has the hat and the beard on, but he's stealing still. And he's posek la'alacha, that's against the Torah. He decides what the halacha is, but it's against the Torah. And you see him doing all types of things, like hugging women and that are not his wife in public. Like this Goldberg, the from Boca Raton. He has pictures on his profile, on his Facebook profile, of him hugging women, not his wife. Hugging women in public, from the Keilah, hugging them. Hey, like pictures. But don't you know, it's halacha meforeshet. It's halacha in the Torah, in the Shulchan Aruch, that a person is not even allowed to show public affection even to his wife. Even to his wife. He's not allowed to show public affection. This is in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yalkut Yosef, Perek 11. Halacha 8. So it specifically says that a person is not allowed to show affection, no kissing, no hand holding, no hugging, to even his own wife in public. Kal v'chomer, take pictures and put it on the internet, machtia rabim. And this is with his own wife. His own wife. If you look at Isurei Be'ah in the Rambam, chapter 22, I believe, it talks about all the dinim, all of the laws of forbidden sexual relations, but it includes their watching your eyes, it includes their wasting seed, it includes their showing affection to a woman that you're not allowed to, and not talking about sex, actually just holding hands, hugging, kissing, winking. You're not allowed to wink or flirt with a woman that's not your wife. Not allowed. These are halachot. These are actually laws from Mount Sinai. It's not Yaron Reuven. But when a guy decides that he's his own rabbi, and he's not going to listen to the Shulchan Aruch, he's not going to listen to the Gedolei Ador, the Chamim say, better off he didn't do tshuva. Why? He's chilul Hashem now. He's desecrating Hashem's name with a kippah on. It's better off he didn't have a kippah on, so some people will think he's a goy maybe. Better off he didn't look like a Jew, he didn't act like a Jew, he didn't call himself rabbi. Why? Because if he drove on Shabbat and he's a goy, no one's going to say, oh, look at him, he's driving on Shabbat. All the goyim drive on Shabbat. You understand? This is also the reason why goyim that are in the process of converting to Judaism are not allowed to take the steps of showing it exterior until the last stage completely, until they mamash have a date of when they're going to convert. And even then, they should refrain from wearing their tzitzit outside. They should refrain from wearing a kippah in public. They should refrain from putting a mezuzah. They should refrain from doing those things. They should do the things like laying tefillin and kippah and so on when they're in the process of praying or learning. But to walk around and act and look like a Jew when you haven't become a Jew yet, you're not allowed to do that. Because number one, you're still not allowed to keep Shabbat 100%. which means that if you're going to drive on Shabbat and someone doesn't know that, you're allowed to drive on Shabbat. You're a goy. But someone doesn't know that, and he sees a Jew with tzitzit and talit and a kippah driving on Shabbat. What is he going to say? He's like, oh, look at these fakers. Look at Am Yisrael, the fakers. It's kitrug, it's chilul Hashem. And chilul Hashem, the Gemara says, the only way you could fix it starts with death. So why start your life that way? Why start your conversion that way? So I know you're excited to be a Jew and you want to look like a Jew now and so on. If you want it so bad, then do everything you can to finish it. But you cannot look like a Jew without being a Jew. There's one guy that keeps sending me the same question in different ways. Same exact question for the last 6 months, I think in 10 different ways. Mamash chokhmah, it's mamash genius how he's able to ask the same question in so many different ways. He's a non-Jew that wants to be a Jew, but he can't convert yet for whatever reason. But he wants to live the life of a Jew. He wants tefillin, tzitzit, and this and that and everything. Keep Shabbat 100%, everything. I said, yeah, but that's not what Hashem said. So, Rabotai, it's important for a person to know that Chilul Hashem is a very, very big sin. The biggest sin. You don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to do it to yourself. If Hashem said no, no. If Hashem said yes, yes. So, the Mishnah continues. It says there are 4 types of donors to charity, meaning there are 4 types of attitudes towards money. Arotzeh sheiten velo yitnu acherim. Eino ra'a b'shel acherim. One who wishes to give himself, but wants others not to give. He begrudges others, meaning he has an evil eye on others. We went over this one last week. It's a person that wants to keep the mitzvah to himself. He wants to give himself. He wants to make sure that he's the only one that gives to the rabbi or to the homeless guy, but not for the right reason. Not because he's going to pay for everything. No, for the wrong reason. Why? Number 1, he doesn't want others to benefit from the mitzvah. Number 2, he wants to keep the guy homeless. He says, if I tell everybody about this tzaddik that's homeless, he's not going to be homeless anymore. That's evil. But he wants the mitzvah to, like as if he gave money to the homeless. So we went over it. Anyone that wants to know more details about it, just go over the shiur last week. But the point is that this is a person that is selective with his giving because of an evil trait. Even when he sees a person that comes from a rich family that fell on tough times, he lost all of his money, he doesn't give him. Why doesn't he give him? He says, listen, he comes from a rich family. Let his family give him. Why do I have to give him? Let his family give him. He comes from a rich family. Why does he want the rich family to give him? He says, because if I give him, then the rich family is going to stay rich. But if they give him, then that means their money is going to go down. And money's going to stay the same. Oh, that's good for me. Meaning it has nothing to do with the poor guy that needs help. It all has to do with his own ego, his own self, and everything. So such is the confused state of mind that a person can get to when he loves money too much. When he loves money too much, he starts worshiping it. He starts competing everybody with how much money he has and how much money they have. I remember I had one student was telling me he's going through a really rough time. And he wants to move, and he wants to do this, and he's having a tough time, and a tough time, and a tough time, and a tough time, and he can't move, and he can't find, and he can't this. Okay, fine. I said, I don't understand. You work, your wife works, the kids work, everybody works. How come you don't have any money? I ask people outright, like, I don't understand. How come you don't have any money? But you work. You have that many expenses? I mean, you don't necessarily look like such a big spender to me. I mean, the car you have is an average car. The house you have is rented, so it's an average house. He's not renting a 20-bedroom house or anything. You don't have a private jet that I don't know about. You don't have any bling bling on you. You're not wearing any jewelry with like a 5-carat diamond on each ear. Like, where's the money going? You work, she works, everybody works. Baruch Hashem, they're not working for a non-profit organization with no money. You work, you make money. So what's happening? Where's the money going? Thank you, it's getting mitzvot. Where's the money going? Does anybody have an answer for that? You have people work in the house. Couple works in the house. The kids work. Everybody works. But they don't have any money. Anybody have an answer? Got a hole in his pocket. Possible. Possible. What else? Couple of things. Number one, it could be that there's no bracha in the money. It could be that everybody works, and it doesn't make a difference how much they make. They make 50,000 or they make 50 million. There's no bracha in the money, meaning that whatever comes in leaves faster than it came in. And I remember it when I was in the business world and we had no bracha in the money. It didn't make a difference whether we made 200,000 a month or we made $1.5 million a month. There was never any money. We always waited for the next month. We couldn't wait for the next month. Why? We need the money. Yeah, but you just made $1 million. You just made 50,000. You just made 100,000. You just made more money than everybody else. I don't understand. No, we need the money. Why? No money. Where'd it go? I don't know. You bought a new car? No. You bought a new watch? No, I don't buy watches. I don't buy cars. You have a new plane? No, I don't have planes. Did you have toys? No toys. What'd you do with the money? I don't know. It's gone. Expenses. What expenses? The same as last one. Expenses. The lawyers, the accountants, the criminals, who knows? Who knows what's happening? There's no bracha in the money. There's no bracha in the money. When Hashem does not give you blessing in the money, it doesn't make a difference how much you make. It's going to go to a place you don't want it to go. Medical expenses, accounting, law, lawsuits, buy all types of problems. It's gone. But before you even have enough time, lead bonin, to even think about it, it's already gone. He just wrote you a letter. Oh, long, remember me? I used to be in your account long time ago, 2 weeks ago. Remember? It was me. Yeah, how was the money? Yeah, remember? Yeah, I just want to say, it was nice meeting you for 2 minutes. Where'd the money go? No money. So that could be one thing. No blessing in the money happens for several reasons. One of the reasons is if a person is not shomer habrit. A person wastes seed, kiss your money goodbye. Now then you're going to ask me, wait a minute, but how are you going to explain all these celebrities, all of these athletes, all of these people that, Shem Yachem, they probably destroy their brit by every second they live? How do you explain them? You explain it with two ways. Number one, you explain it in a sense that if they actually kept their brit, they would be much richer. Second way you explain it is that, notice that all of them at some point will declare bankruptcy and will be in a worse financial shape than they started before they became a celebrity. I wrote an article maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, and maybe 10 years ago, about showing the statistics of NFL athletes, which I used to deal with a few of them as clients, and how they end up declaring bankruptcy and losing literally every penny they have within 4 years of retirement. Average. Within 4 years of retirement, a person that made $100 million in his career has zero, negative. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but over 86% of them. Over 86% of them will declare bankruptcy within 4 years of retirement. And it's the same thing goes for all the other sports, for basketball, for football, for baseball, for all of them. All of them, no exceptions. Maybe there's an exception in golf because the career is longer if you're actually any good. But aside from that, the rest of the sports, it's a short-term career. And they declare bankruptcy. So how much money you made means nothing. What are you going to have for the rest of your life? So another way that you can explain it is that when someone's not a shomer brit, the money is going to be gone. It's only a matter of time. Okay, enjoy your Ferrari and your nice car and your nice watch and your nice this and your nice that. It's only temporary. Why? Because when the punishment comes, when the middot din comes, you're going to regret the day you were born. Why? Because a person that used to have money and now doesn't suffers much more than someone who never had money and still doesn't have any money. You understand? Because if you never had any money, then you don't really have the understanding of how much it gives you and so on. And you never had the luxury of having a lot of money. So you're not suffering really. You would like to have money. You have hopes maybe you're going to have money one day, but you don't have the suffering of not having money. Nowhere near the same as someone that used to have money and now he doesn't. Why? He's used to eating a 16-ounce steak every day for breakfast. Now he's eating peanut butter and jelly on a cracker because he can't afford bread. He used to drive a car, just his car to drive once a week was $250,000. Now he can't. He works for Uber. He works for Uber driving his Nissan. That's a $26,000 lease. He has to pay $150 a month, and he's still struggling to pay for it. You understand? So that's the guy that's suffering. He used to have a $250,000 car. He used to live in a house that Paro was jealous of. Yeah, so many houses, so many big rooms, and so on and so forth. Today, Shem Yachem, he's living in his friend's basement. He's renting a room. That's suffering. That's suffering. So that's another way you can explain a person has a bracha in the money when he wastes seed. Another last way that you could explain, then we'll move on from that, is when a person simply does not know the value of money and simply is living in an imaginary world, thinking that he is competing with the Joneses, and that because he sees that all of the Joneses, all of the rich people talk big numbers, he just bought a house for $1 million, and he just bought a stock for $500,000, and he just took this company public for $20 million, and he looks at the TV, and he compares himself against the celebrities. He compares himself against the people in the community, the rich and famous. Then his whole life is destroyed. Probably worse than the first two. Why? He's never going to be able to compete. He's never going to be able to compete. Because there's always going to be somebody richer than him. So right now, he's competing against the guy that has $1 million house. And he has a little rinky-dink $100,000 house. Now let's say Hashem blesses him and gives him $1 million house. What does the Gemara say? The Gemara Masechet Sukkah says you give somebody 100, he wants 200. You give somebody 200, he wants 400. You give him 400, he wants 800. And never a person die with even half of what he wanted. Meaning, now Hashem gave him blessings. So, you want a house? Here. Achnasat Olchim. You're going to bring guests to your house. Talmid chachamim. Yeah, I'll give you $1 million house. What does he want now? $2 million house. So now he's eating his heart out because now $1 million house, you can't build $1 million house in the projects. They're going to rob you. You can't build $1 million house in the woods. No one's going to know you have $1 million house. You need to show off. So you're going to build $1 million house next to a bunch of other people that build $1 million house. But what happens then? Somebody else builds a $2 million house. Ha! I got a $2 million house. So now what are you doing? Every day you look at your house, you look at his house, and you look at your house like it's a gurta, like it's a junk car. This house. This house. It's not really my house. This house. Don't worry, I'll show you my house eventually. Okay, Hashem gives you a $2 million house now. Now you can't live in the same neighborhood with a $2 million house. You have to move to a better house, a better neighborhood. Upgrade. So now your next door neighbor is what? $5 million house. What's your house now? It's back to being a basement. It's back to being a garage. Yeah, this garage I live in. Yeah, this is a nice house. He has a nice house. And you're always looking and competing with the Joneses, and you're never, ever happy with your share. And this is exactly what happened with this student. He's telling me he can't do this, and he can't do this, and can't do this. So yes, where does all the money go? He says, well, I have a little bit of money, but it's just like, I don't know. It's not enough. I said, what do you have? Like enough to pay the bills for this month? You need me to lend you a couple? I have a couple $100 I could lend. I don't have that much. I lost $1 million. I could lend you a couple $100. Like, I don't know. You don't have any money. You have kids. You have a wife. Feel bad. He goes, no. He goes, no, I have like $100,000 in the bank. It's just. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Wait. You just say you have $100,000 in the bank, and you complain to me about money? You have $100,000 in the bank, and you complain about money? What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? No, he's like, listen, it's not enough. You know, I see all these people, they talk big numbers. I'm like, what difference is it to you what they talk? You have $100,000 in the bank, in this account, in that account, in this account, in that account, and you're complaining about money? You're trying to save $100, $200, $300 a month on rent, and you're going to stay in a non-Jewish neighborhood. You're trying to save a couple of $100 on kosher food because you have $100,000 in the bank. What is the matter with you? I said, you should go. I do 3 shiurim a week. You should go to 10 shiurim a week. Just watch my same shiur 3 times a week. The same shiur. $100,000 a day, complain about money. Hashem Yachem. Yeah, but I donate. And I'm like, I hope you donate a lot more to other people, because the $50 a month that you sent, I don't know if it's even a mitzvah if you have $100,000 in the bank. I don't even know if it's a mitzvah if you have $100,000 in the bank. Donating $50 a month. Bemet. So, Rabotai, the perception we have on money is killing us. It's killing us. Why? We're competing with everybody else. So even when we give, we don't give with a full heart. We give to compete. We only want to donate if everyone's going to know about it. We buy an aliyah on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah. Why? Come on, no, I want to, everybody, look, I donated 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. How come you didn't donate it during the rest of the year? You knew the Knesset needed it. How come you didn't donate it in quiet? Why did you have to make a whole show about it? Why? For what? It's a whole show. It's a whole show. That's because our attitude on money is wrong, and it's killing us. And I don't just mean killing us spiritually, because that's obvious. It's a kal vachomer. It's killing us spiritually. I also mean it's killing our success, monetarily, physically, in this world. Why? As long as you're busy counting everybody else's money, when do you have time making money? If you're so busy counting his money and his money and his money and her money, his money and his house and her house now, when do you have time to make money? You already go to work. You're not the Ben Ish Chai. You go to work, right? You go to work, you work, you're on construction, move, whatever you do. If you're so busy talking about everybody else's money, when do you have time to work and make money for yourself? Oh, you're waiting to win the lotto. Oh, that's a real success story. It's almost 100% ratio that all of them declare bankruptcy. Almost 100%. Look statistically. Lotto winners, almost 100% of the time, declare bankruptcy and lose everything. And many of them are in a worse financial shape than before they won lotto. It's a curse. They call it the curse of winning the lotto. Look it up. So, first person that's so busy counting everybody else's money, that he's putting middot adin on himself. Not only as bad, evil eye and others, but he's causing that evil to come back home. It's like a boomerang. You pray for others' good health, you become healthy. You pray for others to succeed, you succeed. You want other people to succeed, you're going to succeed. You have ayin tovah, you're going to get tov. You have a good eye, you're going to get good. If evil eye, it comes back to you. You curse other people, Hashem curses you. Unless they're Rashaim, then it's a mitzvah. I'm talking about you want him to fail. Why? Because I don't want him to succeed. Why? Just because. Oh, okay, so you're not going to succeed too. So this, Rabotai, this ayin tovah, ayin ra'ah is very, very critical, because if you're already going to spend your life, or at least a good part of it, working, making money, don't shoot yourself in the foot by having such a distorted attitude about it, where you're worshiping it, you're skipping shiur Torah because of it, you think that you're making the money and it's not Hashem giving you the money, you work overtime as if that's going to help. The Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 17. A. And also the Gemara in Masechet Beitzah, 17b. I'm sorry, 16a, 16b. 16 in both pages. Says that Hashem decides what your parnasah is going to be on Rosh Hashanah until Rosh Hashanah. Meaning that regardless of what you do, regardless of what your career is, if you're in construction or you're a stockbroker or you do nothing and learn Torah all day, Hashem already decides what your parnasah is going to be on Rosh Hashanah. Until Rosh Hashanah. How you're going to get it, whether it's going to be from your job, or chas v'shalom from an accident, or from a lotto, or from something else, that Hashem decides based on your maasim, based on your actions every day. But how much you're going to get, He already decides on Rosh Hashanah. So working overtime and missing shiur Torah, it's not going to help your parnasah, it's going to hurt your parnasah. Cheating the customer just to make that payroll, it's not going to help your parnasah, it's going to hurt your parnasah. Meaning, doing evil in the eyes of Hashem just because you think you're going to make a mitzvah because of it, you're going to steal from this guy, so you give tzedakah to that guy. You want to be the modern day Robin Hood. That criminal. You want to be the criminal Robin Hood, but you think you're a tzaddik. Just so you know, it's going to hurt your parnasah. Why? Because your parnasah was already decided on Rosh Hashanah. But how you're going to get it is decided every day. If you stole, Hashem is going to actually have other people steal from you. Midah keneged midah. So, the next person is Yitnu acherim ve'u lo yiten. Eno ra'a b'shelo. Another attitude towards money is a person that wants others should give. He said other people should give, but he shouldn't give. He has evil eye on himself, the Mishnah says. He has evil eye on himself. Why? This is a person that's so infatuated with money, he can't part with it. He loves it so much, it's almost like for him, he'd rather give his heart and not his money. There was one avrech, letzarenu, it's an avrech, it's mamash, a person who learns Torah, that we know indirectly, heard it's a 10 days of tshuva between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. Everybody needs to do tshuva. So, during that time is when you have to do all types of tikkunim. If you wasted seed, each time you wasted seed, there's 84 different types of tikkunim you have to do. If you were angry, it's 150 times. You have to fast, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, most people can't fast 84 times, or 150 times, or even 20 times. So most people that are really serious about tshuva, what do? They give that money in tzedakah. So if, instead of fasting 150 times, for being an angry little gremlin, and throwing something and breaking something, they give 150 times a value of a meal. Value of a meal. So if, let's say, for example, value of a meal, let's say, I don't know, to get a normal meal, you don't have to, it's not a steak for $80. We're talking about a normal meal. Let's say it cost, I don't know, $5. So if for every time you were angry, you have to give $750. 150 times 5, 750. You have to give $750. If you have the budget, you have the ability, you give it. If you don't, you give it in payment plans, or you give it over time, whatever. The point is to try at least to do some tshuva for this. Same thing with wasting seed. Every time you fast, 84 fast according to the Arizal. So that means that you have to have $420, minimum $420. Some say it's $10 a meal, so it's $840. The point is that you should be honest with it. Don't lie on a tshuva. If you're already going to do tshuva, don't lie to Hashem at the same time. Anyway, if it's $5, if it's $10, whatever the case may be.
People love money so much, you probably end up fasting.
Exactly. Chazaku baruch. Chazaku baruch. So there was one guy that says, listen, I'd rather fast. He's like, what do you mean? You rather fast 84 times or 150 times or whatever that tikkun was? Like Allah, 100 times you rather fast than give the $400? And he had money. He's a millionaire. Because I can't. I can't do it. But you have millions. I'd rather fast. Now you're saying, wow, Baruch Hashem, it means you're normal. All of you over here said, wow, Baruch Hashem, it means you're normal. He's misken. That's how much a person can love money. Do you understand? If you don't control yourself, it gets out of control, Rabotai. It gets out of control and it becomes very, very dangerous for your neshama. Very dangerous for your neshama because you turn money into an idol. You're not able to part with it. So that's a person that we're here talking about, is a person that's not able to give tzedakah. He's so tight-fisted that he fears constantly for his own financial security. Yeah, but you have money. You have 100,000 in the bank. You have 50,000 in the bank. If you have, by the way, just so you know, anytime I mention rich people, people think that we're talking about Bill Gates. People think we're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about somebody that's on Forbes magazine. People even think we're talking about millionaires. You don't have to be a millionaire to be considered rich. If you have enough comfort where you have at least 6 months worth of bills saved, you're already considered well off. You're already considered well off. Someone that's considered poor is someone that doesn't have enough money to survive the month. But if you have 6 months in savings, if your bills, let's say, are $5,000 a month, and you have $30,000 saved up, and it doesn't make a difference how many accounts. You have $30,000. You're well off. Great. So how come most people think they're poor? How come most people think they're not so good? No, I'm only middle class. I'm only this class. I'm only that class. Why? Because they have a distorted understanding of what's well off. When the Torah says well off, we're not comparing ourselves to Korach. We're comparing ourselves to what is your basic need. Now this week's parasha, Parashat Korach, tells us that Korach was from Shevet Levi, and actually found, the Midrash says, that he found one of the 3 treasures of Yosef HaTzadik. And he had so much money that he literally had camels, 70 camels, just carrying the keys to his safe. That's how many safes he had. That's how much money he had. Until this day, it's a figure of speech to say, Ashir keKorach, rich like Korach. The amount of money that he had, if you understand the Midrash correctly, it literally would seem like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett would be cleaning his bathroom. That's how much money he had. But what happened with Korach? Anyone that read the parasha? Hashem opened up the ground and it swallowed Korach and anyone that followed him and anything that belonged to him. Meaning even if he had a little toothpick, he left it in his friend's house, and he had a watch at another friend's house, he lent it to him, and he had a car, and it's parked in a different garage, he doesn't use it, it's a classic. People collect cars, they have nothing to do with their life, so they collect cars, they have nothing to do with their money, they collect stuff. Their houses become like a garbage pail of stuff they're never going to use. So they have a garage with 25 cars. Okay, how many cars can you drive? Oh, I don't even drive. Why? Oh, I have a chauffeur. So what do you have the 25 cars for? I collect them. There's people that are homeless. There are people that don't have food to eat. There's people that don't even know, they don't know anything, and you have a collection of cars. You have nothing else to do with your life. I collect watches. People collect watches. Why collect watches? Why? How many times can you tell the time? Oh, I don't use the watch for time. What do you use? I use my phone. So why do you have so many watches? Oh, I like them. Oh, you like them? So if you saw somebody starving in the middle of the street, it's better for you to have a $30,000 watch than to give the guy that's starving in the street. It's better for you the guy to go become a Christian because he doesn't know what Torah is, but you have a $30,000 watch, or 20 of them. You have a collection of watches. You have to pay deen for that. A person needs to pay judgment in Shamayim and say, I gave you money, and you killed my children with it. Why? You had a watch collection. You had a car collection. You had a house collection. How many houses can you live in? How many houses can you live in? How many houses can you live? How many bathrooms can you have? So, Rabotai, person that doesn't know the right and wrong, Hashem Yachem, he's in very, very big trouble. So, a person could be so tight-fisted, so cheap. It's because he's worried about his financial security when it's an unrealistic thing. He's not in jeopardy. He doesn't have problems. But in his imagination, because he's counting everybody else's money, because he wants to give himself unrealistic goals, no, I'm only going to feel comfortable once I have a house as big as hers. No, I'm only going to feel comfortable when all my kids are in college and married. Yeah, but they're 3, 4, 5, and 6 years old. What are you going to do until then? People think that they control their future by saving money. Korach saved a lot of money. A ton of money. What did Hashem do? He swallowed all of it. All of it was destroyed. Every little pin that belonged to Korach, everything that belonged to Korach is in Gehenom together with him. He says, look, you and the money in Gehenom together. And until this day, the Gemara says, there's a place in the desert that you hear the voice of Korach and Adato saying, Hashem is Emet, Moshe is Emet, Torah is Emet, everything is true, I'm the liar. I'm the liar. Him and his money. There's an opinion that he may have because he helped people do tshuva because of his punishment, but there's a bigger opinion that says he doesn't. Regardless of that, where he is right now is more what's important, and that's the place we want to avoid. And that's because his attitude towards money is that he thought that because he had money, that also meant that he's right. And that's the wrong perception on things. Because you have money means absolutely nothing. It just means Hashem gave you a tool to make mitzvot. If you're not going to use it to make mitzvot, then it was better off you didn't have the money. It was better off you didn't have the money. So one who believes in charity, but is afraid to contribute personally, because he doesn't know what the future holds. This person, the Meiri says, suffers from a narrow perspective on life and a condition called Ayin Ra'ah. He says that there's a certain type of person, he likes charity. It's like, yeah, there's a good cause. Make Jews more Jewish. Save people. Save neshamot. Help the homeless. Help this. I like charity. Yeah, he publicizes on the net. He takes the charity, he publicizes to people, yeah, you should donate, he tells everybody, donate. But he himself is not willing to take out $20 out of his pocket. How come you don't? Did you donate? Oh, no, not yet. Wait, but you just told 100 people to donate on the WhatsApp group. You just told 100 people to donate on Facebook, 1,000 people on Facebook. You just told everybody to donate. Did you donate? No. Why not? I didn't do it yet. When is yet? Okay, a week later. Did yet come? Did yet arrive? No, I didn't get to you. The check didn't clear yet. What kind of check? Where'd you get this check from? Africa? In the jungle? They wrote it on a piece of tree? What'd they write this check on? A rock? Like they did in cartoons? In the Flintstones? In the Flintstones, they wrote checks on rocks. What happened to the check? How come it didn't clear? Everybody else's checks clear in 24 hours. What happened to your check? I didn't get to it yet. What does it mean you didn't get to it yet? I didn't get to it yet means he didn't get to it. He's not going to do it. Why? It's hard for him. It's hard for him. It's hard for her to part with the money. Why? I love it so much. I work so hard for it. Why should I just give it away? I got bills to pay. Yeah, but you paid your bills already. Yeah, but what about next month? Okay, next month. Just like Hashem gave you money this month, He'll give you next month. Yeah, but do you believe in Hashem? Do you believe that there's a God that runs the world? Yeah, of course. I love God. Mishim Ma'amin Lo Mefached. All the songs. I love all the songs about God. Akadosh Baruch Hu, Anachnu Ohavim Otcha. They sing all the songs. I love Hashem. Okay, so how about you help Hashem's children do tshuva? How about you help Hashem's children have food for Shabbat? You're saying, I love Hashem. Why don't you help his kids? Somebody else is going to do it. That has more money. Yeah, but what about you? I'll get other people to donate. Fine, you'll get other people to donate. What about you? I don't have that much money. We're not asking for that much money. You have $100. You have $50. You have $5. What do you have? You have nothing? You're homeless? I'll give you money then. If you're homeless, I'll give you money. I'll help you. You'll become one of the homeless people we help. We help people that don't have money. If we have money and they don't have money, we try to help them. That's part of what we do. We don't have that much money, so we can't help that many people. But if you're in such dire straits, you don't have food to eat, I'll go rob a bank if I have to go help you. It's pikuach nefesh. But if you have money, how come you can't give? Oh, what about next month? Oh, so you don't believe in God. That means you don't believe in God. Why? Amar Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkinos, Gemara Masechet Brachot. A person that got food today, he ate food, Hashem gave him food, but is worried about where am I going to eat tomorrow, is a person that has tiny, tiny little microscopic emunah. Why? Why is your little microscopic? Why? If Hashem gave you food today, why are you worried about tomorrow? What do you want? Hashem to give you a down payment for the whole year in advance? Then you'll stop praying to Him. This is what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai answers a question, a big dilemma. They said, how come Hashem didn't give Am Yisrael the man only one time for the whole year? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, "Lema davar domeh." What is this thing like? He said, if a king wanted to give his children food and sustenance, and he said, you know what, let me save him some time. So here, son, here's $1 million for the year. The king noticed, the kid stopped coming home, stopped checking on his father, stopped calling, stopped writing, not even answering a text message, except once a year. When? When he has to get a new refill, a new $1 million. So the king saw that giving his son money in advance is hurting their relationship. Why? Because the son doesn't call home anymore. He doesn't come home, doesn't visit, nothing. It just became an ATM machine. So the king says, listen, you know what? I don't have the $1 million this year. I only have enough for today. What about tomorrow? Come back tomorrow. And he saw that once he gave every day the same amount, all of a sudden, the relationship was rebuilt. Why? Because now he sees him every day. He sees her every day. Every day he gives a little bit. Baruch Hashem. He says that's what it's like. Hashem Yitbarach said, if I give them only once a year, they're only going to pray to me once a year. But if I give them man every day, and they're not going to know if I'm going to give them tomorrow. No one's going to know if Hashem is going to feed them tomorrow. That means they're going to pray for me tomorrow. They're going to pray for me today. They're not going to be satisfied with just today because they're going to want tomorrow. That means they're going to talk to me all the time. We're not going to lose connection. So I'm doing it to save our relationship. Such is the chesed of Hashem. He not only wants to give us, but he also wants to connect to us too. So a person that only wants other people to give is a person that doesn't have this emunah. He doesn't believe that Hashem is going to give him tomorrow. He doesn't trust that Hashem is going to feed him tomorrow. It's a pessimistic view on life. It's a pessimistic view on Hashem in general. And it's actually not only chutzpah, it's also considered kfirah to a certain extent. It's considered heresy to a certain extent. Why? Hashem gave you and you still don't believe in Him? Rashi says that eino ra'ah, the person that begrudges himself or has an evil eye, literally means cheap. Literally means a person that's cheap. Meaning that he cannot motivate himself to help others at his own expense because he's afraid to deplete his own assets. Now, anyone that learned just a little bit, anyone that learned just a little bit of Torah, a little bit, has heard some of the famous stories of what it says about people that are ba'alei chesed, ba'alei tzedakah. The Gemara in Brachot and also in Ketubot says a very famous story about one of the Gvirim, one of the old-time famous wealthy people of Am Yisrael by the name of Nagdimon ben Gurion. Nagdimon ben Gurion was alive during the Bet HaMikdash, during the times of the Bet HaMikdash, second Bet HaMikdash. And the Gemara says that he was one of 3 people that financed the entire nation. We're talking about millions and millions of people. Him and 2 other people. Kalba Savua and Tzitzit Kesef. 3 of them financed millions of people. When the evil Romans surrounded Yerushalayim and didn't let us come in or leave. So everybody says, no worry, no one has to worry. I got enough. I have enough in my reserves to feed everyone. And they literally had enough in their reserves to feed everyone for 3 years. And they had even more. Until the Zionists of the day, called Giborim, decided, what are we going to do? We're going to burn the food. They thought it's going to be good for the people. What? To make to starve them. Such is the mind of Kofrim. We've always had them in our nation, unfortunately. Anyway, so he was a big Baal Chesed. Even before this time, every time there was an event, there was 3 times a year, the people, the tzaddikim from all over the world would come to Yerushalayim. And Nagdimon ben Gurion financed all of it. Financed all of it. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars. He financed all of it. One time, he saw that there's a shortage in water. Shortage in water. He went to an Arab and he told him, listen, you have 12 wells of water. Let me buy them from you for all the people that are coming up. There's thousands and thousands of people coming up to Yerushalayim, so I could give them water. He goes, what are you going to pay me? I said, listen, I'll return them to you the same way I got them. They're all full now. I'll return all 12 wells the same way I got them, meaning you don't lose out anything. And if they're empty, whatever is empty out of them, I'll fill it with gold. It's a good deal. You have a well with 1,000 gallons of water in it. The guy's going to use it. Naturally, you think it's going to go down, right? If it goes down, you're not going to get water back. You're going to get gold instead. It's a good deal. The Arab said, okay, no problem. As the time passed, they had the event, they had the holiday, Baruch Hashem. The day came to pay back, and all of the wells are empty. The Arab laughs. He's laughing his way to the bank. He thinks that the deal is over. He sends a messenger to Nagdimon ben Gurion. He says, okay, yalla, where's my money? Where's my money? No? What, you want to give me a check? Make it payable to cash. Make it payable to, I'll spell for you. C, A, no, where's the money? You want to give me the gold? You want to give me a house? You want to give me, what do you want to give me? Oh, hold on a second. I told you, I'll pay you back what I got. The deal ends at the end of today. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I just finished shachrit. Relax. He goes, what do you mean? Well, you need to go get a wire transfer from your foreign account, from Panama? Where are you going to? No, don't worry. Hashem's going to fill the wells. He starts laughing at him. He goes, what filled the wells? Even if it started raining, what do you think? Hashem is going to fill 12 wells? This is months of rain. He goes, you worry about you, I'll worry about me. I have till the end of the day. For the rest of the day, the Arab kept sending somebody to bother Nagdimon ben Gurion, making fun of him. No. You think he's going to fill it now? You think he's going to fill it now? Nagdimon ben Gurion, as there was very little time left, goes to the Bet HaMikdash and starts praying to Hashem. He says, Hashem, what did I do this mitzvah for? For me? Do I need the water? Did I use the water? It was for your children. I shouldn't pay your debt. This is water for your kids. You should pay your own debt. The rain started. The Arab sent some people there. He goes, okay, nice, it's raining, but maybe it's going to fill up 3%. Nagdimon went back into he started praying. Hashem, we need more rain. Mabul starts coming, and in a short period of time, rain like never before fills up all of the wells. Miracle. The Arab, disappointed that he didn't get all of the gold that he expected, still sends a messenger to Nagdimon ben Gurion. He says, listen, I still have only the God of Israel would do such a miracle for you people. But I still have a case against you. I know your God protects you, but I still have a case against your God. He goes, why? He says, because our deal technically ended when the sun went down at 6. The wells weren't full until 6:15. So technically you still owe me some money. You still owe me the money. He said, hold on a second. Nagdimon ben Gurion goes back to the Bet HaMikdash. Hashem talks to Hashem, like you and I are talking. Hashem, it's Chilul Hashem here. He thinks you can't do it. He thinks 15 minutes. What does Hashem do? Hashem makes Nagdimon ben Gurion one of 3 people in history that he actually brought back time. He put back the sun that went down and put it back in the sky. He put the sun back in the sky. It's like, see, sun's still out, deal's still on, wells are full. Meaning that Nagdimon ben Gurion was a tzaddik. He wasn't some rasha, some rich guy with hotels in Las Vegas. where all the To'avat Hashem is there all day, all night. No, we're talking about tzaddik. The only people that Hashem put the sun back in the sky for, stop the sun in its space, for who? Chizkiyahu and Yeshua ben Nun. That's it. Meaning he's in the same league as Chizkiyahu, that Hashem, the Gemara says, I want Mashiach to come, it's going to be Chizkiyahu. Or Yeshua ben Nun, the Gedol Hador after Moshe Rabbeinu. So he was in the same league. But then the Gemara says in another place, in Masechet Brachot, says that one day Rabban Yochanan sees a young Jewish woman looking through the tzoat, looking to the waste, the filth of the donkeys of the Arabs. He says to her, Biti, what are you doing? My daughter, what are you doing? Nice Jewish girl looking to the waste of the donkeys. He says, I'm looking for chita, I'm looking for grains that the donkeys haven't digested yet, so we can eat. We're in such poverty. He looks at her, he goes, whose daughter are you? And she says, I'm the daughter of Nagdimon ben Gurion. Rabban Yochanan says, how could it be? Your father is a big tzaddik, very rich. She says, he used to be. He used to be rich. Used to be. So Rabban Yochanan says there's a problem here. It says tzedakah. Tzedakah tatziv mimavet. Tzedakah is going to save your life. Tzedakah is going to help you in life. Hashem is supposed to give. Maaser v'titasher. Someone gives maaser. Hashem says, you're allowed to test me, I'll make you rich in your whole lifetime. And the chachamim say, yes, exactly. So yes, Nakdimon gave. He gave tzedakah. He gave the for Am Yisrael for the wells, and he gave for the Sifrei Torah, and for the Kolel, and Yeshivot. He gave. But he didn't give enough. When you don't give enough, you don't have the protection. You don't have the protection. When a person is not makpid, when a person is not precise to do the right thing when it comes to maaser, all bets are off. A bunch of people that used to be rich came to Rav Steinemann, alav shalom, after the market crash 10 years ago. Group, 20, 30 people. All of them were very, very wealthy. All of them donate. And all of them lost a ton of money. And they come with a complaint. Room full of people come to a complaint to the Gedol Hador. They says, Kvod Harav, I don't understand. We gave money. We gave money to the Kolel, the Yeshiva, the school, the event, the this. We gave. How come we all lost money? Now, a typical rabbi that doesn't have Yirat Shamayim these days, unfortunately, what is he going to say? Oh, don't worry, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. But that's why that typical guy is not Gedol Hador. What does Rav Steinemann say? He says, let me ask you, everyone answer honestly. Can anyone here testify with no doubt that you were makpid, you were precise and exact with your maaser? Meaning, you got 100,000, you gave 10,000. Now you deducted this, you're treating it like it's the IRS. No, this I gave some money to my sister for a hot dog, so let's deduct that from the expenses. I gave some guy a ride, so it cost me probably $5 in gas. Let's deduct that and deduct this. By the time they finish, is maaser to give on $10. Yeah, but you made $1 million. Yeah, but I had expenses. He says, who was makpid to give? You got 100, you gave 10. You got $1 million, you gave 100. Who? One guy raised his hand. Room full, 30 people. One guy raised his hand. He says, yeah, Kvod Harav, I did. He said, you lost money? He says, no. Actually, I'm the only one here who didn't lose money. But I didn't tell my friends because I felt bad for them. So I came with them to show support, but actually I didn't lose a penny. I actually made money. I made money. Hashem pays cash, Rabotai. You want to test him? He says, no problem. Test me. You're allowed to test him on this, you're allowed to test. But if you're going to do the deductions and the calculations and then this, and I didn't sell, and I didn't buy, and this was real estate, and this was a stock, and this was a Bitcoin, and this was chewing gum, and this was a private business, and this is my ex-wife, and this is the yeshiva. Does yeshiva count? Does this count? People ask all these questions. Every day I get questions, Baruch Hashem. And many of the questions are like, can I deduct this from Maaser? Can I deduct this from Maaser? Can I deduct this? Can I deduct everything? Can I deduct lunch from Maaser? Can I deduct that I bought a book for Maaser? Can I deduct my kid's yeshiva from Maaser? Yeah, technically you can deduct yeshiva cost from Maaser if it's your son, but not if it's your daughter. The tuition for your son, you're allowed to deduct from Maaser according to Rav Ovadia. But tuition for your daughter, you're not allowed to deduct from Maaser. But no, if they heard you're allowed to deduct the tuition, it's everybody. It's the kids, it's the neighbors, it's his mas, it's everybody. It's the future cost. If I'm paying $6,000 a year now, I'll just estimate next year it's going to be 12, so I'll just deduct that also. They treat Maaser like it's IRS. We're looking for deductions. We're looking for deductions. Somebody like that, there's no protection. There's no protection. There's no guarantee. There's no deal. You're cheating Hashem. You're cheating Hashem. You're treating it like it's a joke. You're treating it like you could fool Hashem. Honestly, better off you don't do anything. At least you're not cheating Hashem. You're stealing from Hashem, but you're not cheating Him. It's different. So, Rabotai, Hashem says, "Aser v'tit asher." Some say if you give 10% of your income, Hashem guarantees that you'll be rich. Some say Aser v'tit asher is actually chomesh. It's 20%. It's 20%. Either way, a person that is afraid to do the calculations and be exact, and he's always waiting for another day, he's always saving for the rainy day, but he's not thinking about today. No, I'm going to give money in my will after I die. Hashem didn't ask you to give money after you die. He asked you to give money when you're alive. But you love your money more than you love Him. So you're assuming that you're going to get to enjoy this world and the next world. So here we see that a person loses out a lot. Now there's a very famous story. Did you guys ever drink the tea? The tea called Wysotsky? Anybody here drink tea? Or am I the only one? You drink tea? Anybody drink tea? You guys are too young. Okay. Israelis drink tea. You guys like American, you guys. Skinny. Iced tea? Iced tea. Skinny. Okay, just me and you. Me and you and probably a couple people on the internet. Okay, there's a very well-known kosher tea called Wysotsky. Today, to be honest with you, today everything has to be kosher. Even though technically it's all leaves, today there's so much go'al nefesh, so much disgusting stuff that they put in food that if it doesn't have kosher, personally I wouldn't eat it even if they say it's allowed. I told you guys last week, and I think a couple of times before, there's a company called Sinomex or Sinomax or some name. It's a public company, and they make food coloring and food additives, food flavoring from body parts, from fetuses, aborted fetuses that Planned Parenthood, Imach Shimam v'Zichram, kills, and they sell these body parts to this Sinomex, and they make food flavoring out of it. And now I heard actually just today that there's a company in China, or at least one company in China, that has decided to take it to the next level and make pills out of body parts of aborted babies and sell it as if it's going to give you energy and you're not going to age and all types of things. So pretty much we are at a generation where the average person is a cannibal. Even if he doesn't know. Another kindness of Hashem to give us kosher, because if you eat kosher, none of this stuff is even a problem. That's why we recommend kosher even if you're not Jewish, because honestly, if you're not eating kosher, who knows what you're eating? It could be you're eating your next door neighbor, just died last week. Could be. Again, that too. That's part of the flavoring too.
Is this fulfilling the prophecy that says that one day people will eat their own kids?
Could be. Could be. Could be part of it at least. But anyway, there was a very rich Russian named Kalman Wysotsky. Kalman Wysotsky was a tycoon in Russia, and Jewish guy, and had all types of investments. In today's terms, billions. Billions and billions of dollars in real estate, in companies, all types of things. So one day, one of his people came to him and offered him to invest in a tea business in Eretz Yisrael. Wysotsky laughed at him. He said, "Are you joking? Eretz Yisrael? You want to invest in Israel? This is before Eretz Yisrael. This is early 1900s. Before modern Israel." He says, "You want me to invest in Palestine? The Turkish people that are running it right now are very difficult to deal with. They're thieves, they're this, who wants to deal with these people? You want to invest in that country?" Yeah, no, invest. No, let's start a tea business. A tea business in a country where pretty much you can't grow anything. It's all desert. Before modern Israel, you couldn't grow anything. And he said, okay, fine. He ended up, even though he laughed at it and he considered it, he said himself, he considered a preposterous idea, meaning a ridiculous idea, but he only did it because he had so much money. He's like, I have to do something with the money. Here's a few dollars. Go start a tea business in the middle of the desert. Tea you drink in cold places. Go start a tea business in the middle of the desert. Go. He had so much money. He's like, it doesn't make a difference. He says himself that in 1917, the Caesar and his army were swept from power, and the communist Russians took over. And what did they take over? They took over everything. All of the assets, every single thing that he had, except what? The tea business in Israel. So when they fled the country and went to Eretz Yisrael, that's how they restarted their life. And that tea business, Baruch Hashem, became a very big business. To this day, you go to the kosher stores, you see tea, Wysotsky. And that's the story behind it. That's the story behind it. You invest in kosher tea, Hashem will give you blessing. Hashem will give you blessing. So, this is a person that didn't love money so much to such an extent he says, you know what? If it's not going to be the typical thing, I'm not going to do it. Okay, it's something that's in Israel, and it's a Kodesh, let's take a shot. Took a shot, and that's what actually saved him. The next part of the Mishnah, we're almost done, says, Iten v'itnu acherim. Chassid. A person that's a chassid, as we said, the Torah's definition of chassid is not if you wear a shtreimel. It's not if you have a really long beard, and it's not if you belong to Chabad or Breslev or Gur or any of the chassidut today. What makes you a chassid is if you do above and beyond the letter of the law. Example, Hashem says, keep Shabbat, 25 hours. You keep Shabbat, 26. Hashem says, don't destroy your peot and the corners of your beard. You grow a beard. Not because you like the style. Because you're doing above and beyond what the law is. Hashem says, don't be angry. Not only are you not angry, you're not happy all the time. Hashem says, don't be cheap. Not only you're not cheap, now you're generous. Meaning, it's not that you're just not violating what Hashem said and not doing what He said, but you're actually going the extra mile. You're going above and beyond the law. That's chassidut by definition. And that's the only definition that we care about. Now, if a person wants to be a chassid, as we talked about, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we also talked a little bit about money. This is the one place that a person can truly look in the mirror and admit to himself whether he's a chassid or he's the grains of sand that maybe a chassid stepped on at some point in his life. Why? Because if you're chassid, you have to be, by definition, chassid with money. You have to be generous. Have to be. Because if you're not generous, if you're a stingy person, that means you love money too much. That means you love material too much. That means you haven't even begun to do tshuva. You haven't begun anything yet. You're still connected to material. You're still worshiping this money. You're still looking into materialism as if that's going to save your life. You still haven't connected to Hashem Yitbarach for real. It's only superficial. What's superficial? Superficial connection to Hashem is only when there's good stuff. When there's good, when you got the good deal, when you have a nice car, when you bought the house, when you got married, when you had a kid, when everything was good in life, you love Hashem. You're singing to everybody, Mishem Amid Lo Mefached, whoever believes is never afraid. Hashem, we love you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we love you. And all the nice Hasidic songs. And you have this little belt that you walk around with your jacket and your coat that you wear during your prayers. And you have the nice hat and the streimel and it all looks good. But as soon as you have problems, as soon as the check doesn't clear, as soon as you get fired, as soon as Hashem Yirachem, somebody gets a disease, as soon as there's a terrorist attack, as soon as you lost a job, as soon as something happens, Hashem gives you a present called a test, all of a sudden, all bets are off. Hashem, why are you doing this to me? I don't understand. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't understand? Hashem tests those people he loves. Hashem tests those he loves. If you're getting a test, that means Hashem loves you. What are you complaining about?
What if you're failing the test?
Then you're going to continue getting the test until you pass it. You're going to continue getting the test until you pass it. Because Hashem is cheering for you to win. And He cannot advance you, according to His own law, He cannot advance you to the next level until you beat the level. It's like like a video game. A video game. Everybody played, if you played video games as a little kid, everybody wants to beat the game. But they forget that they're supposed to not cheat. People have these cheat codes, and they get to the last level in 2 seconds. That defeats the whole purpose. You're just wasting your parents' money and getting a new game for no reason. Now, obviously, this is bitul Torah. It's a waste of time, and don't do it. But the point is that in the secular world, people play these games, and they buy these cheat codes to get to the end, which defeats the whole purpose of the game. You're supposed to beat the level, and then get to the next level, get to the next level, get to the next level after beating the level. Hashem wants to give you more, but you have to beat the level, and there's no cheat code. There's no cheat code with Hashem. There's no right, left, up, down, sideways, up, down, and you can beat the game. There's no cheat code. There's no cheat code. Anybody who played video games as a kid knows what I meant. The point is, Rabotai, there's no cheat code. So, a person that wants to be a real chassid has to be chassid when it comes to money. Not only should he give, but he gets other people to give. He donates what he's supposed to donate, but not only that, that's just his own mitzvah. What else does he do? He gets other people to give. No, did you hear about this irgun? You hear about this KIRUV organization? You heard about this cause? You heard about this convert, this wedding, this chesed, this talmid chacham? You heard about these things? No, I didn't hear. No, let me tell you about it. No, I'm busy. Okay, busy after I finish. I'm trying to do you a favor. What favor? I'm working. You're not trying to ask me money. No, I'm doing you a favor. I could be saving your life. Etz chaim ili machazikim ba v'tomchei me'ushar. The Etz Chaim is a symbol for a talmid chacham. The tree of life. The tree of life is given to who? Those people that benefit are the ones that invest in it. Tomchei me'ushar. Tomchei, the ones that invest in a talmid chacham, They're the ones that are beneficial. Why? Shouldn't it be the Etz Chaim should be happy? Shouldn't it be that the guy that got the money should be happy? He goes, no. Tomchei me'ushar, the one that invested in the talmid chacham, the one that invested in getting Jews to do tshuva, the one that invested in KIRUV, the one that invested in Hashem's Torah, he's going to be happy. Why? Shouldn't it be that the rabbi is happy? He got the money. Shouldn't it be that the organization is happy because they got the money? No. No. Why no? They were going to get the money anyway. It was already judged in Shamayim on Rosh Hashanah that they're going to get the money. Meaning, the only thing that changed is you decided that you're going to be the vessel. You're going to be the tomech. You're going to be the investor in this organization. You're going to be the investor in this Torah. You want to be a partner with Hashem. Rabbi Kadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, everyone in this generation said if Mashiach would come right now, it's Rabbi. He's a perfect human being. Perfect human being. Kedusha, Tara, never looked at his brit. Looked, forget touch. Never looked at his brit. That's what they called him Rabbi Kadosh. Only 3 people that I know of in the entire Gemara are called Kadosh. Oh, actually, not in the Gemara, in general, in Judaism.
Is Yaakov Avinu one of them?
No. It's not called Yaakov Avinu HaKadosh. It's called Yaakov Avinu. Why? Because Rebbe never even looked at his brit. Now, Rebbe was very rich. Rebbe was very, very rich to such an extent he had hundreds and hundreds of horses, hundreds of properties, servants, workers, employees. Le'avdil, but you can call him like he was in the Forbes 500. But still, any time there was a chesed, there was tzedakah, the Gemara says he did kindness for all of his friends by inviting them to donate. Why is it kindness for his friends? Because in reality, Rebbe was able to donate by himself. He didn't need their help. He had plenty of money. He had plenty of money to donate. He didn't need their money. He says, no, but I was doing them a favor. What? I was allowing them to take partnership in a mitzvah. They needed $1 million. I had $10 million. But I said, you know what? I'll donate $500,000. You guys donate $500,000. I allowed you to be a partner in a mitzvah. Why? That's mitzat chasidut. That's what a chasid does. Not only he gives, he also shares the mitzvah. But don't be a fake chasid. What's a fake chasid? He just tells everybody else about the mitzvah. He doesn't do it himself. Or he donates $3 and he wants everybody else to donate the other $1 million. No, I donated also. What'd you donate? I donated maaser for my baby son that didn't work yet. They gave him for a Brit Milah. They gave him $10 pretend money, monopoly money. So I gave him maaser from the $10, from the monopoly money. But you guys should be partners in this mitzvah. What about you? How come you didn't give? Fake chassid? So Rabotai, it's very, very important for a person to know that to be a chassid, you need to share mitzvot. A person that's kadosh in the Torah is like, for example, Or Chaim HaKadosh. There's 3 people that I know of that are called kadosh. Kadosh means that a person that watched his brit. So, for example, you have Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik is also called Tzadik because he watched his brit. There's a certain kinui, a certain nickname that Hashem gives to specific people when they excel in a certain mitzvah, specifically with Shomer HaBrit. So Yosef HaTzadik is the only one in the entire Torah that's called Tzadik. So the Gemara in Masechet Sotah says, why is he called Tzadik? Because he watched his brit during a test with Potiphar's wife. Potiphar's wife was one of 4 most beautiful women in history. And he didn't sin with her when he had an opportunity to sin with her. There's also Rebbe HaKadosh, there's Or Chaim HaKadosh, and a couple of others. But the point is that people are called these names not because somebody just decided to call them that. This is a nickname that stood because it had the blessing of Hashem. And specifically when people overcame enormous tests, specifically with the test of arayot, sex issues. So to understand the issue of sharing a mitzvah, there's a phenomenal story about Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz. Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz had a friend that was a kanai, had a friend that was zealous, tzaddik. And every day they would study together chavruta. And letzaram, to their dismay, every day when the sun went up and went down, the shadow of the cross that's on the church across the street would show up in the Beit Knesset. Through the window, it would show up in the Beit Knesset, like the shadow of it would be on the Beit Knesset floor. It would drive him crazy. But what are you going to do? The Notzrim, the Christians, they're the powerful. What are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. What do you tell them? Can you please move it? What are you going to tell them? They're going to kill you. But his zealous friend couldn't take it one day. He says, that's it. I have a pitaron. What are you going to do? I'm going to destroy it. They're going to kill you. Let him kill me. Moser et nafsho for Kiddush Hashem. Sacrifice his life for a sanctification of Hashem's name. So he goes, destroys the cross, and as he comes down from destroying the cross, what do? They catch him. They catch him, they throw him in their jail, and they decide, okay, we have to kill him. After their fake court hearing, they say, okay, we're going to kill him. So now, Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz and the rest of the Keilah have to find a way to save him. What's the best way to get people to do what you want? Especially if they are Ovdei Avodah Zarah. Money. So they find somebody that works for the church, the guard of the church. They find out that he likes money. Big surprise. So they tell him, listen, how much money is it you free our friend? He's like, oh, your friend's expensive. Okay, how much? Listen, if they catch me, it's okay, how much? He tells them a huge amount. No problem, we'll get it to you. Listen, you don't have that much time. Oh, we'll get it to you. Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz says, I don't know if they're going to get it, they're not going to get it, it's going to take some time. I have the amount. He has the amount because his father-in-law gave them a big present when they got married. He's rich. Gave a big present to his daughter to make sure that she's okay. Here. He takes everything the father-in-law gave, their entire life savings, from the safe without telling his wife, and goes and gives it to the Christian. He says, here, free my friend. The rest of the Keilah comes to the Goy and says, okay, we got part of the money. He goes, don't worry. Don't worry, your friend, Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz, you already paid me the full amount. Your friend is already free. So the Keilah comes to Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz. Says, Kvod Harav, we want a piece of the mitzvah. We got half the money. He goes, wow, hey, you want me to share the mitzvah? No, I already did it. I already did the mitzvah. I can't sell you mitzvah. I already did it. So they got all the money, but now, mitzvah, it's already too late. But now Rabbi Yonatan has to deal with the consequences. What's the consequences? It's to tell his wife that they're poor now. He's scared to tell his wife, so what does he do? He says, okay, I'll be back. He goes to the kollel and hides there for a week. He hides in the kollel for a week. After a week passes, I have to go home. During that week, the Christian comes to his house. And he's under pressure, and he's like, listen, here. And he gives her 3 buckets full of diamonds and gold and money. He goes, here, give this to your husband. She goes, what is this for? He says, listen, they caught me at the church. I've been stealing money for them for years. And they saw there's something fishy with this prisoner who ran away, and it's under my control, and they want to kill me. So I have to run away. I can't take all this money. So if I survive, I know that your husband is so honest that he's going to give me the money back. And if I don't survive, I want him to have it. She goes, why you want him to have it? Why you like my husband so much? You're Christian. He He says, because your husband is a real Jew. He was willing to sacrifice everything he has just to save another Jew. Just to say, everything you guys had, he gave me. He told me he gave everything you have. She doesn't even know yet. She doesn't even know. She's finding out from the guy. He gave me everything you have to save his friend, to save another Jew. So he deserves it. If I survive, I know he's honest enough that he's going to give it back to me. If I don't survive, I want him to have it. So he gives her these 3 buckets full of diamonds and gold and everything. Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz comes home later that day. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what happened. He's coming home. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her. No, I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to tell her. I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to tell her. I'm not going to tell her. What am I going to do? He comes into the house. His wife is happy and cheering and singing. Look what your God did for you. Look what your God did for you. Look what your lover did for you. Look what your lover did for you. Oh, Avai. Who loves me? Oh, God. Why? Why are you saying God loves me? Look what he did for you. Look, you gave a little bit of our money, what we had, a little bit that we have. Look how much reward he gave you. 3 buckets full of gold and 1,000 times more. What do you do now? Honestly, what do you do at this moment? You're Rabbi Yonatan. What do you do? You start singing, you start singing, Yishtabach Shemo, Mi Shema'amin Lo Mefached, Kadosh Baruch Hu, we love you. Right? So you're singing. What does he do? He starts hysterical crying. Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz Alav Shalom starts hysterical crying because he knows the truth. He says, Oy vay voy, oy vay voy li, Hashem paid me reward in this world, oy vay voy. Hashem paid me reward in this world, that means he doesn't like my mitzvah. He doesn't like my mitzvah. And I know why he doesn't like my mitzvah. Because I didn't share the chesed. I didn't share, I took it all to myself. He says, oh, you took it all to yourself? I'll give you all the reward here then. You want all the mitzvah to yourself? Fine. I'll give you the reward to yourself too. He says, oy vay voy, what did I do to my connection with Hashem? Oy vay voy, look what I'm doing. What am I doing with all this money, all this garbage? What am I going to do with this garbage? My connection with Hashem is hurt. That's a lover of Hashem. Do you understand? People say, no, I love Hashem. I love Hashem. What do you love Hashem? You love his money he gave you? You love the wife he gave you, the husband he gave you, the kids he gave you? What do you love Hashem? Loving Hashem, Rabotai, is like what Eiyov says, even if he were to destroy me, I would still serve him. The Baal Shem Tov, Alav Shalom, says, what does this mean? It says, it means that if Hashem says, from now on, every mitzvah you do, you're going to go to Gehenom for. And every Averah, you go to Gan Eden. What do? Bemet, I'm asking you a question. Okay, from now on, he says, every mitzvah, as a bat kol comes from Shamayim to the shiur Torah, says, Rabotai Yekarim, from now on, every mitzvah you do, you're going to go to Gehenom. And every sin, now you're going to go to Gan Eden. Can anyone honestly say they would even fulfill one mitzvah for the rest of their life? Or they're all going to do sins? I'm not going to embarrass you, but I'll be the first one to say, no more mitzvot. Why? Because we're selfish. We're selfish people. We're selfish people. We want to go to Gan Eden. We care less about Ritzon Hashem. Because we don't love him. We love ourselves. What does the Baal Shem Tov says? Even if Hashem tells me that every mitzvah I go to Gehenom, I'm still doing the mitzvah. Because I know that's his will. And even when I go up to Shamayim, the Baal Shem Tov says, I go up to Shamayim. They tell me, listen, you got to go to Kafakela. Oh, great, Hashem said it? Fine. He runs to Kafakela. Oh, Hashem says to Gehenom, I'm going to Gehenom. Hey, what do you mean? You're going to suffer? Yeah, but that's what Hashem wants. If that's what Hashem wants, let it be suffering. That's loving Hashem. Meaning we're dreaming when we say, oh, I love Hashem. What I love Hashem? You love yourself. Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz understood, Rabotai Karim, he understood what it means to connect to Hashem and what's at risk when we're disconnected. He says, I did a mitzvah. I gave everything I had. But it was incomplete mitzvah. Why? It was selfish. Selfish. You have to share the mitzvah. Share the mitzvah. And that's why, for us, to do mitzvot, it's not just about doing something. It's about doing it completely. The connection with Hashem is all about shlemut. Shlemut meaning complete. You want your mitzvot to be complete. So, here we'll finish this specific part and understand that this is the chassid. This is the chassid that wants to do above and beyond the law, not only he himself giving, but he wants other people to give. So a person not only gives, but he also helps other people give. The Chelek Yaakov gives a chidush about this specific thing, and he says there are 8 levels of charity that the Rambam discusses. I went over it last week, if you remember. Different levels of charity. A person that gives but doesn't really want to give, that's the lowest form of charity. He doesn't really want to give. According to the Torah, the Beit Din is allowed to force people to give tzedakah, even though it's not practiced anymore, at least not to my knowledge. But a person that the Beit Din forces him to give, and he gives, that's the lowest form of charity. The highest form of charity is when someone gives another person the ability to make it on their own. Gives them a loan to make into a business, a interest-free loan. But sometimes the Yetzer Hara will fool us into thinking that we're doing mitzvot, when in reality we're doing averot. How so? A person is looking for tzedakah. Person is looking to get help. He has problems. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any food to eat, and so on. And a person comes to him and goes, okay, listen, I'll do a mitzvah. I'll lend you the money. I'll lend you the $10,000. I'll lend you $100,000. I'll lend you whatever the money is. I'll lend it to you. Now, the problem is that the person doesn't have any money, also doesn't have a way to pay you back. And in reality, he wasn't asking for a loan. He was asking for a tzedakah. If you're giving somebody a loan when they didn't ask for it, they asked for tzedakah, and you're pretending that you're doing the highest level of tzedakah, you're wrong. Why? Because you're not giving the person what they're looking for. You're only trying to give yourself what you're looking for, which is you don't really want to give any tzedakah because you're too cheap. You're too cheap. So what do you want? You just give the guy a loan, but you're pretending to be a tzaddik. Lo, yeah, you know how many people I help? You know how many people I help? I lend him money, I lend him money. Yeah, but they didn't ask for any money. And all of them are going to feel bad for the rest of their life because they can't pay you back. Or even if they pay you back, they're giving you their own food. They have to skip 1 day a week eating just to pay you back the loan. You're the loan shark. That's not a mitzvah. So a person cannot fool themselves. And definitely cannot fool Hashem. So he says here, the highest level of tzedakah is where an intermediary is used, where neither the giver nor the recipient are aware of the other's identity. This is before the level I just told you. When a person wants to do mamash midat chasidut, wants to be a chassid, not only is he going to give before people ask him, he's going to look for ways to give tzedakah. He has money, he knows Hashem gave him the money specifically to do good, not to build up his IRA account, not to build up his 401k and plan his retirement from 30 years from now. Who said you're going to survive 30 years? He gave you money today for you to use today. Now, we're not saying you should be homeless because you gave. There's also laws of how much to give and so on. But the point being is that a person that doesn't give because he is trying to save for a rainy day or save for retirement or all of this other stuff is obviously just using that as an excuse not to give. So now, if a person wants to be a chassid when it comes to money, not only is he not waiting for people to say, oh, listen, there's a cause You should give to, he's not waiting, he's looking for them. He's doing research. Instead of doing research on the news of who's going to be the next president, or what's the best stock, or who won this sports competition, or who is the richest guy on the Forbes 500 list, instead of wasting his life on that, he's looking for good causes. Which one is the cause that sanctifies Hashem's name the most? Which one helps Am Yisrael do the best in the name of Hashem? Which one? He looks for that. That's what he spends his extra time on. And not his extra time. So now, this is a person that already is doing chassidut in the sense that he's looking for people instead of waiting for them. Second thing is, when he gives anonymously. He gives anonymously. He doesn't tell them who he is. He sends the check with no name on it. He gives cash. He's not looking for the chandelier to have his name on or the building to have his name on it. But if he wants to get to the highest level, he gives the tafkid of giving to somebody he trusts. Instead of him giving directly to a certain organization, he gets a real friend. It says, "Aseh lecha rab ukneh lecha chaver." Make yourself a rabbi, but buy yourself a friend. Here is one of the places you need to buy yourself a friend. How? You get yourself a real friend that's going to tell you right and wrong. That's going to rebuke you when it's necessary. It's going to lead you the right direction. You say, listen, here's $1,000. Go give it to the place that is going to do the biggest kiddush Hashem. The place that will help Am Yisrael the most. Don't tell me who. Don't tell me who. Why? I don't want them to know. I don't want to know who they are, and I don't want them to know who I am. Because I want a pure mitzvah. I want a pure mitzvah. This is midat chassidut. Today, the chachamim say that if it wasn't for ego, there wouldn't be batei knesset. Today, this midat chassidut is almost like talking about the 10 Commandments and and Mount Sinai. It's so far away from us, because most people, if they don't get recognition, they can't give. It's just they can't bring themselves to give. Or even if they give only a little bit private and a lot of it public. I used to have this client. I had a few of these clients where they had a lot of money. They'd invest with us, but they'd buy a little bit of stuff with me. They invest $1 million, $2 million with me on a certain deal, but on their own, they'd buy the same thing. They buy the same stock they bought with me, but on their own, they buy $10, $20 million worth. Why? They want to save an extra couple of points on commission. So they feed me. They give me a few $1 million because they like the deals. They know they're going to make money. For out of 16 years, with the exception of the last 5 years, everything turned to gold. Then the last 5 years, everything turned to ashes. But for a long time, they liked the deal, so they gave me some money. Yeah, keep coming, keep giving me these deals. Here's a couple of million, here's a couple of million, here's a couple of million. But some of them were so cheap, as far as paying what that they buy $2, $3, $4, $5 million with me and $20 million on their own, just to save a point, 2 points, 3 points in commission. I had a so-called uncle that was very wealthy, or is very wealthy, and when I first started in the business, I was looking for clients, and my dad told me, listen, why don't you call him? He just sold his hotel, he has some money, ta-ta-ta. I said, okay. So I called the guy, I told him, listen, I'm doing this, ta-ta-ta. Oh, yeah, sounds good, what do you have? So I give him 2 of my best picks, 2 of the best ideas I was working on. All right, sounds good, get back to me in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. All of a sudden, I call him, yeah, no, I don't know, it's not really for me, but I'll track him. I'll see if I like him, I'll track them. Okay. Maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, he sends me an email. Listen, the 2 ideas that you gave me, I made a lot of money on one of them, but the second one, it didn't go up 300%. It only went up only like 30%. Do you have anything better? chutzpan. Man, not only did you just steal you stole money from me. You're not allowed to steal somebody's idea. It's gezel. You're not allowed to steal it. You're not allowed to steal somebody's idea. You're not even allowed to look at somebody's paper. If it's not yours, if somebody's reading a book, you're not allowed to go look and read the book. Not allowed. No, I heard this guy say something, so you say it. If you say it, you have to say it in his name. So the guy not only has the chutzpah to steal the idea, especially at that time I needed it. At that time I was starting out, I didn't have any money. But he asked for more too. Such is the bad middot of people that worship money. So last but not least is the last part of the Mishnah. It says, Lo yiten velo yitnu acherim, rasha. A person that he doesn't want to give, and he doesn't want other people to give. And that person, the Torah calls him, this is a rasha. This is an evil person. Why is he an evil person? Okay, he's cheap. Why does that make him evil? Why is somebody that's cheap evil? There's plenty of people that are cheap, and they're really nice people. Selfish, okay, but why evil? Why connect evil with cheap? Cheap, Baruch Hashem, there's plenty of people cheap.
Evil is not taking care of the bliot. That doesn't take care of the bliot.
So he's cheap. But why evil?
Being cheap is an evil trait.
Why is it evil trait? Why is being cheap evil?
He thinks he made the money.
So that means he's a kofir, but why evil?
The opposite of Hashem.
Opposite of Hashem. Opposite of Hashem. Hashem Yitbarach only gives. He is the Baal Chesed, the ultimate Baal Chesed. Why? He only gives and never takes. You cannot offer Hashem anything. Your tefillot, your brachot, your learning, all for you. When the Mashiach comes, the Rambam says he's going to ask everybody, what did you do for me? What did you do for me? What did you do for me? You have 13 principles of faith. You have to believe the Mashiach is going to come as one of them. Any day. So Mashiach comes after Gog Magog, 15 days of darkness, Hashem Yirachem, 2/3 of the world dies, all types of problems, balagan. Let's say you survived. Let's say. As on Hashem, we do tshuva, we go to shiurim. Okay, good. Mashiach is going to ask, what did you do for me? What did you do for me to come? Now, first person is going to say, I went to shiur Torah. I learned Torah. I did blessings. What is the Mashiach going to say? No, that was for you. The blessings, the tefillot, the learning, the mitzvot, that's all for you. What did you do for me? Chazaku Baruch. For you, you learn mitzvot, you learn, that's for you. If you want to do something for me, you bring Hashem's children back home. If you get other people to do tshuva, that's for me. Why? Because in reality, it's a thankless job. You don't really get reward for it in this world. You don't get noticeable reward in this world from it. For the most part, if you're really doing your job right, a lot of people going against you. The Malach HaMavet, the Zohar Kadosh, I saw it. The Zohar Kadosh says, the Malach HaMavet gets up off the chair for you. Why? To go against you specifically, to war. Because you're stealing his employees. Just like Hashem Yitbarach built everything with a equal, if you will. So he gave Am Yisrael Moshe Rabbeinu, he gave the Goyim Bilam. And the Gemara says that Bilam actually had one power that Moshe Rabbeinu did not have. Meaning he was actually even in one step greater. That's why it says, no one that was like Moshe was ever around in Israel. In Israel. Why? Because in the Goyim there was somebody like Moshe. There was Bilam. But Bilam used the same powers that Moshe had to be Rasha. That's why he's in where he is in Gehenom forever. But the point is, Rabotai, is that Hashem gave a balance. Light, dark, tall, short, so on and so forth. And just like Hashem, the Zohar Kadosh says, just like Hashem has Kisei Kavod, is the throne of glory, He gave the throne of glory also to the Malach HaMavet. And the Malach HaMavet, he doesn't get up after the throne. He has servants. Every time a person makes a sin, he creates a servant of the Satan. Every time a person makes a sin, it's as if he brought a korban, a sacrifice to the Satan. He created something for the Satan. He created a new employee. And that employee is going to influence this person to make more sins. And that's why you see, every time somebody starts with a little sin, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, avera goreret avera. One mitzvah leads to another, one sin leads to another. We learned this in Mishnah in Avot, maybe 3 months ago. So now, this is because this demon that he created is an employee of the Satan. And he's working and influencing the person to make more demons, more sins. So how come it's not the Satan himself? It says because Satan doesn't get up for just anybody. He has employees. He's a king. He doesn't just get up for anybody. Who does he get up for? The Zohar Kadosh says he gets up for Mezakeh Rabim. He gets up for people that go do KIRUV. Not just the speakers, even the people that help them. The volunteers, the employees, the donors. All of them. Why? You're stealing my employees. You're bringing the Mashiach. Once the Mashiach comes, he's going to slaughter me. Hashem's going to slaughter me. I have to deal with you. Hey, I have to deal with you personally. And that's why you see, if you're involved in KIRUV, you see that some of the tests that you get are mamash unbelievable. Unusual tests. Unusual. I could testify this myself. Honestly, some of the things, if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. If I told you what really goes on every day of my life, you say, no, even in a book they wouldn't write this. I don't tell you, because people would think it's something. It's unbelievable. Even my own Rabbi Ephraim, he is Shem Menachem, how many tests he goes to. He's a big Mezakeh Rabim. But he tells me, when I tell him my test, he tells me some of his. We don't even tell each other everything. Because it's like, already, come on. But he says, honestly, the other time I told him something I was going through. He goes, honestly, if it wasn't you, I wouldn't believe it. I don't think even if you wrote this in a book, one day you're going to write a book, and don't write this in a book. Because no one's going to believe this. No one's going to believe this. This happened in Mitzrayim, he said.
Give us one.
One?
Then we have to ask. Give him a test.
One. How recent do you want it to be? Right now, you want it from last week? You want it from a week before?
Well, how could you when you were in Bushwick when you got sick was enough?
Can, that's enough. But I wasn't a Mezakeh Rabim yet.
Give us a good one, a new one. We haven't heard it yet.
You haven't heard yet. Okay. How many plagues were in Egypt? Plagues. 10. Okay. 10 plagues were in Egypt. So, Dam, Tzfardea, Kinim, right? Now, before we moved to Florida, we lived in a $4 million apartment in New York on the 35th floor. Even bugs don't go up there. 35th floor, bugs don't even go up to the 35th floor. They already stop at the 6th, 7th floor, they stop.
The city?
Ken, Manhattan. So anyway, so all this natural life, squirrels and cats and dogs and bugs and all that stuff, I saw it on TV. It was on Discovery Channel. That's it. That's as once in a while you see a squirrel on the street, on trees, but it wasn't like something. So over time, you learn about these things, and you get to become a little bit, not necessarily germaphobe, just a little bit sensitive to some of these things, unusual. So now when we first moved to Florida, I first saw the lizards. I saw lizards, and I found this very unusual. I'm like, what do you mean, was it a zoo? Why is there lizards outside my house? There's lizards everywhere. I found it very unusual. And everybody told me, no, this is common. And then I saw like a dinosaur. They called it an iguana. There's a dinosaur next to my house. And then he has a friend. It's like a slew of dinosaurs coming to my house. I'm like, oh, Baruch Hashem, Maaseh Bereshit. Maaseh Bereshit. I see little dinosaurs next to my house. Each one, they're climbing trees. And how are they climbing a tree? So this was like, okay, this is Florida. Fine, no problem. It's not a test. It's not a test. Just funny. And so it's like, unusual, different. I live in a house now. Sedem. So when at first we moved, we lived in Boca Raton, which I later found out is the mouth of the rat. That's what it means in Spanish, mouth of the rat. And I found out they were talking about Goldberg. He's the rat. Because everything that comes out of his mouth is only a rat could say it. Guy wants to invite a missionary, Catholic missionary, to a Jewish shul. What else are you going to call him? You can't call him a Jew. Reform is better. Reform is better. Reform at least has his beliefs. He believes in nothing. This one pretends like he believes in Judaism, but he brings Christian missionaries and sexaholics to speak to the people. Yeah. So anyway, let's stay to the story and stay funny. So I saw one time outside my house, it was raining, and I noticed that it rains almost every day. I thought, okay, Maaseh Bereshit again, we're Parashat Noach. We saw the dinosaurs in the first week. Now we're seeing rain every day over here in Florida. I said, oh, Baruch Hashem, Noach is coming any day. It rained so much, unbelievable to me. Okay, fine. Rain. But then I noticed, now the lizards have friends. What? Frogs. These little dinosaurs have friends of frogs. And I couldn't believe them. Like, what are the frogs doing in front of my house? For you, Kodesh Kodeshim, I understand in the Torah it says, Masru et nafsham on 100%, Discovery Channel. Not in front of my house. Now, up to now, fine, they're frogs from a distance. Once in a while they were next to my door. And I didn't really like it so much. But, whatever. I would run out, run in. Tzedel. What's the test? Now, as you can see, I'm a little bit sensitive about this stuff. I don't like it. Now, right before Shabbat. This is Shabbat, past Shabbat. Thursday. No, Shabbat, Friday. Apparently, one of these frogs gave birth outside my house. And we looked it up, and we looked outside, and we saw there's literally 1,000 frogs outside my house.
One frog can give 1,000?
Yes. From 200 to 1,000 little frogs come out of an average frog, and 1,000 of them. This one, Mahmir. This one, 1,000 frogs are outside my house. They're everywhere.
They're like tiny,
Tiny, no tiny. There's 1,000 frogs outside my house. Hashem Yirachem. And what are they doing? They're climbing everything. The walls, the windows, everywhere. Hashem Yirachem. Now, Shabbat came in. Are you allowed to kill? It's one of the 39 melachot. Not allowed to kill. But they're outside, right? What's the problem? The window had a crack. Had some crack in the connecting, not the window, it's not the glass part, but the connecting, the male, female part, whatever it is, whatever kaparat avonot was that belonged to me, had my name on it. Over 100 frogs entered the house. 30 on Shabbat, another 30 on Motzei Shabbat, another Shem Yirachem, until we got somebody to shut off the windows. What a kaparat avonot. For 3 days, the average day, over 30 frogs per day are coming in. And they're jumping all over the house. I'm trying to study, and there's a frog jumping over here. Now, come on, Rabotai. Does this happen to the average person? In Egypt, it happened. That's why I told my rabbi. I said, okay, I'm having these frogs. He goes, yeah, exactly. I found it in a place in the Torah. He says, my rabbi, Baruch Hashem, he says, I went to a Mekubal. And I told him, listen, for the Rav, we need help. What? He says, we have a problem with frogs. There's over 1,000 frogs at a house. The Mekubal says, listen, it's a big guy. He goes, listen, I have kameot for rats. I have kameot for dogs, for cats, for everything. But I never heard of anything about frogs until Egypt. This doesn't happen. 1,000 frogs don't show up to anybody's house. This, he says, belongs to him. We can't help him. It's kaparat avonot with his name on it. You understand? This is Rabotai, this is just a day in my life. Baruch Hashem. Shtabach Shemo Lahad. Hashem gives me midah keneged midah. Now, what do you learn from באמת? You have to learn. You have to learn, why do you have frogs in your house? Nice house, little two cute babies. Why do you have frogs in your house? It's busha. And I'm telling you the story. It's embarrassing. My wife's probably going to kill me. Say, why are you telling people we have frogs in our house? So now, why you have frogs in your house? You have to learn about frogs. You have to learn about frogs, Rabotai. Frogs. What can you learn from a frog? So we're going to finish with this. First and foremost, as Kvodo said, the frogs were one of the 10 plagues. But if you look at the book of Shmot, Exodus, after Paro said, listen, I'll do tshuva. I'll do tshuva. Just tell your God to stop this. Moshe tells to Paro, tell me when. Meaning, so you don't think that it's some type of happenstance that incidentally the frogs stop because of the weather or because of the day. No, tell me when you want it to stop. Paro says tomorrow. Such an idiot. You should say today. No, he says, I want to see that it's tomorrow. Because if I want to see it's tomorrow. This is how much of an ego he had. So now, Moshe comes to Hashem, cries to Hashem, the parasha says, Hashem, please stop the frogs. Hashem sends a malach. Malach comes. Sfardim! Frogs! Hashem says, leave. He didn't say kill yourself. He says, leave. The frogs, the parasha says, many of them went into the Nile and lived. Many of them went back into the river and lived. But it says many of them went into the tanur. Many of them went into the fire. Why go into the fire? Why go into the fire, frog? It's a fire. You don't do well in fire. You don't do well in fire. Why go into the fire? The tzfardeim did a kal v'chomer. The tzfardeim, the frogs, did a kal v'chomer. They said, listen, if I go back to the river, it's going to take me 20 minutes. The fire is 2 minutes. That means there's a difference of 18 minutes that Hashem is not going to be satisfied with me. It's better that I kill myself, frog, that lives off of instinct. It's better that I kill myself than Hashem not being satisfied with me for 18 minutes. Hashem rewards them in this world. What? None of them died. None of the tzfardeim died. Now, fast forward. Fast forward. Hananiah, Mishael, ve'Azariah. In the book of Daniel, says Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were Gdolei Ador. Nebuchadnezzar Rasha says, listen, I just built a big statue. Every one of the nations that over here has to come, say, worship this statue. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah had an option to leave, to run away. But then they knew if we leave and run away, tomorrow the paper is going to say all the nations came and worshiped the statue. They're not going to say Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah ran away because they're not going to notice that we didn't come. So they're just going to say everybody worshipped him, and people are going to assume that we did too. That's Chilul Hashem. So we have to ask the Navi what to do. They go to the prophet, they say, listen, talk to Hashem. Tell Hashem that we did a kal v'chomer. We did needless to say, we did a calculation in our head. If the frogs were willing to jump into the fire in order to honor Hashem for an extra 18 minutes, we're willing to jump in the fire for Hashem. So Navi, ask Hashem, will you save us like you saved the frogs? The prophet goes to Hashem. Hashem, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah said, they're going to jump into the fire for you. Are you going to save them? Hashem says, tell them, no. I'm not going to save them. If they want to jump into the fire for me like the frogs, good. But I'm not going to save them. They do mitzvah. Good for them. I'm not going to save them. Why? They leave. They say, he's not going to save you. Okay, we're jumping into the fire. Prophet goes back to Hashem. Hashem, how come you're not going to save them? You saved the frogs. You saved Avraham Avinu. He says, no, I'm really going to save them. No, really, I'm going to save them. So how come you didn't tell them? Because they want to do mitzvah completely. I want to give them the opportunity to do the mitzvah like the frogs. completely. The frogs didn't know I was going to save them. If they know I'm going to save them, they're not really mosar nefesh. They're not sacrificing anything. They know I'm going to save them. If you know Hashem's going to catch you, it's not a, what are you doing? It's not even a risk. They jumped into the fire, Rabotai Karim, instead of worshipping a statue, and Hashem saved them. Everybody saw they're walking in the fire, hanging out in the fire. Made the whole thing into a joke. Nebuchadnezzar says, take them out, take them out. It's busha for us. It's embarrassment for us. These people are dancing and enjoying the fire. But then, if you look at Tana Deve Eliyahu, the book by Eliyahu Navi, he says, how come we never hear about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah again? How come we never hear about them again after that story? They all died, they all lived through the fire, sanctified Hashem's name. You know the story already 3,000 years later, Ishtabach Shem Olad, but there's never another story about them. Never. How come? Eliyahu Navi says a chidush. Eliyahu Navi says, after they jumped into the fire and didn't die, it was a big chidush Hashem. The problem is, it started becoming a KIRUV tool. Look, Am Yisrael, Hashem saves them. People started doing tshuva. Satan got off this chair. Satan got off the chair. What happened? People put ayin hara on them and they died. They didn't die from a fire. They died from ayin hara, from evil eye. That's why you never heard about them again. So that's another way we learn about frogs and what Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah learned. Another thing is, David HaMelech thought to himself that he wrote Sefer Tehillim, Baruch Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name. One day a frog tells him, listen, you know I do better than you, right? David HaMelech knew the language of the frogs. We barely know the language of people. The frog says, I sanctify Hashem's name all day. All the time I sing. What do you think I sing? What do you think I sing? Rap? What do you think I'm busting rhymes? What do you think I'm having a battle here? I'm saying Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. I'm sanctifying Hashem's name. Just like there's a Bereta that says, Rabbi Akiva Omer, חיה אחת עומדת ברקיע ושמה ישראל. וחקוק על מצרים ישראל ועומדת באמצע הרקיע ואומרת, ברוך השם ומבורך. Rabbi Akiva says there's a chaya, there's a special angel in the middle of the cosmos. Huge, giant angel. You think it's probably a planet. It's an angel. And its name is Israel, like the nation. And on his forehead, there's the name Israel, his name. What's his job? His job is to stand in the middle of the cosmos and command all of creation. Baruch Hashem Mevorach. And all of the other angels and creations and the frogs and the cats and the dogs and the lions and whoever is a holy Jew, what do they say? Baruch Hashem Mevorach L'olam Va'ed. So now when a Jew says Baruch Hashem Mevorach L'olam Va'ed, he's just fulfilling his purpose as part of creation. When he does it, he's lower than a frog. And that's why the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim says, if a Jew does not keep mitzvot and does not learn Torah, if he's not talmid chacham, he should not be allowed to eat meat, because the meat comes from a cow, and the cow is better than him. So Rabotai Karim, there's a lot to learn about frogs, as you can see. It's a lot to learn. Also, you learn from frogs, it's like Lashon Hara. The Rabbanit gave this chidush. Some of the Mekubalim say that frogs is a sign for Lashon Hara. Why Lashon Hara? Says, you look, how does it connect? She did a chidush. She said, if you notice, the frogs are unlike all other creatures. If you look at the ducks that hang out in the same neighborhood, when a duck has little ducklings, the little ducklings follow the duck, the mommy duck, for a long time. It's cute. You follow little 7, 8, 9 little ducklings, follow the big duck. But with the frogs, that has 1,000 little frogs that follow him, Hashem Yerachem, you see these frogs, they go everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no neighborhoods. There's no clans. They don't stay by the mom. They don't stay by the dad. They don't pay mortgage. They don't do nothing. They go everywhere. That's Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara goes everywhere. You think, no, I only told her this one thing about him. It's just one thing, I just told her. Yes, by the time the week is over, you'll see that it went to her and all of her friends and all of her friends' friends, and it went on the news, and it went on TV, and it went over here, and it went on the internet, and Hashem Erechem, what happens? Hashem Erechem, what happens? This is why I tell people that if you're smart, don't ever make a comment on the internet. Honestly, if you can't help yourself, don't even make a good one. It's better. You want to make a good comment, oh yeah, I like the shiur, Baruch Hashem, that's fine. Other than that, don't make any comments. If you have a problem with a shiur, send the rabbi a personal message. Do not make a public comment. Why? Because anyone that actually is going to stop learning from that rabbi because of your comment, there's no end to your suffering. There's no end to the punishment. So that's why people that make comments freely on the internet against me, against Rav Mizrahi, against anybody that actually does real KIRUV, it's really, you have to feel bad for them. Aside from being annoyed, because it's annoying, like, you work for free, you try to help Am Yisrael, you try to sanctify Hashem's name day and night, and you're talking bad about me? Like, what's the matter with you? You have nothing else to do in your life? Go talk bad about Obama. Go talk bad about the Hamas. Go talk bad about somebody else. You have nothing else to do, just talk bad about us, make a video about us. But honestly, at the end of the day, you have to feel bad for them. Why? This is a person that's in Gehenom, and he doesn't realize it yet. He's inside the Tumah. He's inside, deep inside the Tumah. He doesn't realize. Why? He became part of it. Like this one guy, Ari Roseman, who made a comment just a few days ago about the interview that Rav Mizrahi did with this Froom girl, Flatbush girl, some woman that interviewed him. And apparently the whole interview was based on the fact that she gets a lot of criticism. She wanted to interview Rav Mizrahi, who also gets a lot of criticism and about Judaism and so on. All after she published it, apparently a lot of her fans are Reshaim. So all of the Reshaim came out and started making comments. Now you expect this from people that are Reshaim, people that are haters of Hashem, haters of Judaism, haters of mitzvot, and so on. You expect it. What don't you expect? You don't expect it from somebody who calls himself a religious Jew and claims to work for Chazak. Chazak is a well-known Jewish organization in New York, and that organizes shiurim, and also has a program to bring kids from public school to yeshivot. And apparently they do a lot of chesed, a lot of good things for Am Yisrael, especially in the New York area, but in a few other places. Now this guy, Ari Roseman, is a Rasha Merusha, but he claims to work for them. He claims to work for them. Now, a lot of people claim a lot of things, but you need evidence. Problem is, there's a lot of evidence that he does. Like his pictures on his profile have him with a t-shirt of Chazak staff. He's in a lot of lectures next to the rabbis and so on and so forth. Now, why is this a problem? Because Chazak is supposed to be a kosher organization. Supposed to be a decent organization. I spoke for them a couple years ago in Tisha B'Av. Rav Mizrahi spoke to them many, many times in the past. I don't think there's anything in recent months, but in the past he's done many, many shiurim with them and helped the organization, especially in the beginning. For an employee of Chazak to go out there and publicly badmouth one of the most important KIRUV rabbis of our generation, even if he wasn't, even if it was just a regular rabbi that's a kosher person, to go out there and call him names and publicly, do things like that, I mean, there's a problem. It's a serious problem. So we contacted, and and the thing is, though, is that they said, no, he doesn't work here. I said, why? It's unusual for a person to have a staff shirt if he doesn't work there. It's unusual for him to say he works there and he doesn't work there. It's like somebody says, I work for the White House, but he doesn't. It's unusual. Like, why would you say it? They have nothing else to do in your life? Why do you have pictures with the president? If you have pictures with the president every other day, you probably work for him. If your office address is 1600, what is it, Pennsylvania or something, the White House, that means you work there. If you have pictures and staff and t-shirt, it means you work there. So if he works there, he should be fired. If he doesn't work there, then any reasonable organization would come out with a public statement saying this guy does not work here, and what he said does not represent Chazak, does not represent our organization, or even Judaism. And publicly endorse Rav Mizrahi and the Torah that he spends. But if you're going to have problems publicizing this, that means there's something wrong here. That means there's something wrong here. That means the apple doesn't fall from the tree. You can't claim he doesn't work and not say anything about it. You understand? So that's the thing, Rabotai Karim, is that when it comes to Lashon Hara, the Rambam says, Lashon Hara, if somebody says Lashon Hara once, he has a big judgment in Shamayim. But he can still have share of the world to come. But he says this is not talking about somebody that says Lashon Hara on a regular basis, because of course he has no Olam Haba. He says it's safek if the guy that says it once, depends on the damage, if he has Olam Haba. But someone that does it regularly or has an effect that's going to happen, a long-lasting effect, Hashem Yachem. If one single person doesn't learn from Rav Mizrahi or myself, or anybody that's a kosher rabbi, because of Lashon Hara of this Ari Roseman, or anybody else, because of that, you have no idea what kind of punishment a person like that is going to get. One person doesn't learn, one person doesn't support, one person doesn't do tshuva, one family is lost. Hashem Yachem. Even if you hate me, even if you hate Rav Mizrahi, even if you hate... be quiet, keep it to yourself. There's plenty of Reshaim in the world that you could talk about. Go talk about Kim Jong-un. Go talk about Iran. Go talk about Hillary Clinton. Go talk about Obama. Go talk about Osama. Go talk about, I don't know, the Christian missionaries. There's plenty of things to talk about if you have a filthy mouth and you wanna do it. But to go talk against KIRUV rabbis, why? Why do it to yourself? Why do it to yourself? This, Rabotai, we also learned from the frogs. So I'm hoping that Chazak does come out with a statement and say something supportive, because it would be sad if they don't, because it would mean that they're partners in the crime. And I don't think they should be, because they have a lot of good things going for them. They recently raised $1.5 million to do this program to take kids from public school to yeshivot, and people, Baruch Hashem, donate to them. People, Baruch Hashem, like them. They have events. They have big rabbis supporting them and so on. Okay, that's fine. It's all fine and good as long as you're a kosher organization. But if you're not going to back up the Torah, and you're not going to do anything to reprimand an employee or clearly show that he's not an employee by showing a cease and desist letter and make a public statement, then you're a partner in the crime. And for that, you know, that's unfortunate, but you're a frog. You're part of being a frog. So that's another thing we learn from the frogs all the time. Beseder, we have another shiur tomorrow night, Bezrat Hashem. I hope you enjoy this one. We finished this Mishnah. Tomorrow night we'll have, Bezrat Hashem, another Mishnah. We'll have another Mishnah, but here we see that the people that have a special connection to money, usually it's not good. Usually it's not good. But Bezrat Hashem, we'll learn some more things about other things tomorrow night. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen. Go ahead. The Gemara says that he had Hashem had to give it to somebody, and he had one eye. He had one eye, so the prophecy that he got was in that eye that he didn't have, the hole that he had, because that was the only place in his body that was pure. So he didn't sin in that place of the body, and therefore that's where the prophecy would come to. But in general, as far as when he first got the prophecy, he wasn't evil right away. He had the ability to become huge, to be a tzaddik, but he chose not.
So a prophet could turn evil afterwards?
Yes.
Okay, so my next question is, what if Mashiach comes? No, what if when Mashiach comes, people are still in the process of converting and didn't complete the process?
I have a short shiur, about 15-20 minutes, about that specific question. I'll send it to you if you remind me. Generally, if somebody's in the process of converting, but authentic converting, the Mashiach is going to know what's in your heart, in a sense that Hashem is going to give him ruach Elokim. So he's going to know who's a real convert and who's not, and those people, in essence, will be already considered as people that are Jewish. Yeah, they'll be able to complete their conversion. You can ask, yeah.
Oh,
I
so
want you to check out my notes. You did a good job.
Okay,
I don't know if you could read my.
Tabii.
Where do we know that wasting seed is actual there? Like, is it like say an actual verse shall not do that, or is it?
Ken, I would say
Derivative of adultery.
Onan did it and said that he deserved death, or he
Oh,
died.
that's what we derive it from.
no, there's several. If you watch my shiur about wasting seed, it's 3.5 hours of proofs with somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 sources from the Torah, from the Gemara, from the Mishnayot, from the Sifrei Tzadikim, from the Tanakh, from the Zohar, many places that scientific even, but many places from the Torah proving that it's in the Torah that you're not allowed to waste seed. Also, if you look at Isurei Be'ah by the Rambam, chapter 22, it says specifically you're not allowed to waste seed. Talacha, and also the Shulchan Aruch.
Just like
Shulchan
just like adultery. Like
No, it's considered murder. It's worse than adultery.
worse.
It's one of the reasons why
Chayav
homosexuality
kares,
is wrong.
right?
Huh?
Chayav kares.
Yes, it's chayav mita, yes. But somebody has to do tshuva. Somebody has to do tshuva. But it's, the Shulchan Aruch calls it the biggest sin in the Torah.
Yeah, but if it's such a big sin, how does a person do teshuvah for it? Like if a person's done it 1,000,000 times, how does a person like actually bring something to teshuvah without suffering tremendously?
Good, suffer tremendously. But
Saying
the
that, so if a person does teshuvah for that sin, he's going to suffer a lot in this world.
could be, sure.
You do
Doesn't-
KIRUV.
doesn't-
No,
doesn't
if
every
you
man-
help others.
No, I
if
mean,
you
first
help
of all,
others,
first
fix it.
first
You
first
don't
of all,
suffer.
you can leave it on. You can leave it on. It's good questions. First of all, a person can do, does tshuva in a few ways. Number one, he stops sinning, stops wasting seed. Number two, he
Helps
does
others.
the different things of tikkunim of wasting as far as tzedakah and so on. And last but not least, he also helps other people not waste seed by educating them, by sending them the shiurim, giving them the CDs and so on, helping other people do tshuva for wasting seed. Those few things are going to help a person do complete tshuva for wasting seed.
Yeah, but if every man in this world decides to do teshuvah for that, isn't everybody going to have to like receive some sort of suffering here? Like,
You receive suffering.
People
regardless.
suffer regardless. People suffer in their life regardless of tshuva.
So what's the purpose if a person's not doing teshuvah at all?
Exactly, so he's suffering for no reason. So that's the point. If a person does tshuva and he gets suffering, at least the suffering is worth something. If a person is not doing tshuva and he's suffering, then it's just a waste of suffering. He's not getting the full potential of that suffering.
Yeah, but does that relieve him in the next world of suffering?
If he does tshuva. If he doesn't do tshuva, then the suffering here is not going to relieve him of the next world.
Yeah, but you're saying that every person suffers. Every person's alive.
Everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. There's not a person in the world that doesn't suffer in his life. Everybody suffers. It's part of life. Suffering is part of life. People suffer waking up early. People suffer. People suffer. You like the shiur?
I like it. I'm still here. I barely slept last night.
Good, Baruch Hashem. Let's get him into
What
it.
if a person's always happy? Then how does
Happiness is a choice. Suffering is a choice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a person doesn't suffer. Everybody suffers. People want to eat more than they eat, but they can't, so they suffer that they're not eating as much. People want to spend more than they have, so they suffer that they're not spending. Everybody suffers a certain level of suffering. Some people have disease. Some people have financial problems, shlom bayit problems, kids problems. People suffer. Everybody suffers. There's no such thing as a person doesn't suffer. But suffering per se, as far as having pain, as far as suffering as being miserable, that's a choice. That's a choice. That's a choice that a person has. And if he chooses to that's all based on his spirituality. It's all based on his Torah. If he has a lot of Torah, then he'll be fine. Then he won't be miserable about it. He'll take it with, he'll know that the suffering has a value. But if he doesn't have Torah, then he'll just be miserable and unhappy and think that Hashem is, hates him. And he won't see the real value of what he's doing. So it's suffering for no purpose.
Yeah, but what if a person's suffering mentally, though? Is it possible?
It doesn't change anything. You're asking the same question in a different way. Suffering, it doesn't matter physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, financially, all suffering. Suffering in general, everyone has it. Some people have it one way, some people have it another way, some people have it multiple ways. Everyone suffers. A person that has a lot of Torah uses that suffering to get closer to Hashem. A person that does not have Torah uses that suffering to get away from Hashem. He blames Hashem.
Inspiration or desperation?
Right. Zakabal.
It's altogether redundant. I'll give you a small story. I met this lady in the hospital. She's 90 years old, Holocaust survivor. okay, 10 years old, she was begging people for money. She didn't know where her food was going to be. She went from there to be extremely rich, give a lot of money, okay? She's in the hospital bed, and I'll show you a picture of her. She's 90 years old. She looks like maybe she's 55, and she's not even sick now. She doesn't even know why she's there because her mind is with Hashem. That's what it's about. He's building you for resilience to be stronger. It's not weakness. There's no such thing as bad. Everything Hashem is doing is good. But our perception is bad.
Right.
Bento, go scream out. Go talk to Hashem. There's no way after you spill your heart to Hashem that you're going to feel it. State of mind.
That's like psychological.
Yeah, that's it. How do you fight the Yetzer, huh? Give me Yetzer Tov.
The thing is, I want to speak to Hashem in my own words, but sometimes I don't know what to say. So, like,
So you tell him, Hashem, I don't know what to say. Help me what to say. Just say that. A little bit. Hashem doesn't want big. He wants one shot.
Just like you're asking questions now, you ask Hashem questions. The biggest way to talk to Hashem, aside from prayer, is to learn about Him. The more you learn about Him through Parashat Shavua, through the Gemara, through Mussar, through different books that in the Torah, the more you learn about the middot of Hashem, the more you're going to connect to Him. And that's also a way that you show Him that you love Him. The more you love a woman, the more you want to know about her. The more you love a man, the more you want to learn about him. The more the more you love your job, the more you want to learn about the job. So to learn more about Hashem will show that you love Him, and actually will cause you to love Him. But as long as you don't know enough about Him, then there's that disconnect. So that's part of the ways to fulfill the mitzvah ve'afta et Hashem Elokecha is to learn about Him.
yeah, but isn't that what you said before? Isn't that what the Buddhists believe, that everybody suffers? Or somebody in China a long time ago said that there's no way to receive pleasure in this world or something.
Suffering and pleasure are two completely different worlds. Pleasure exists and suffering exists. One does not cancel out the other. Somebody can suffer and have pleasure all at the same time even.
Yalla.
How can that be?
Yalla.
Could be. Could be that he is disgusted of himself because he's disgusting of what he's doing, but he still has a physical pleasure. Point being is that it's these things happen. One thing doesn't cancel out the other.
Yeah, but if a person is a tzaddik though and he doesn't do anything of that nature, shouldn't he not suffer? I mean,
Why?
Because the guy that's with a prostitute, he has a reason to be disgusted with himself. The tzaddik, because he's doing the will of Hashem, so shouldn't he not feel disgusted, or shouldn't he not?
No, he's not. He's not going to have that same suffering. He's going to have different suffering. The suffering has a value in Shamayim. There's a value of suffering in Shamayim. There's a certain value. It's very valuable. The chachamim say that if a person really knew the value of his suffering, he would pray for suffering. That's how valuable it is.
That's why in your story he didn't want the money. He's like, why should I give you the money? You didn't pay me. I want for the next world. He doesn't care because he knows the value. Real tzaddik knows the value. Suffering isn't really suffering. They'll dance in the suffering.
You made it. You made it.
We have a little misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, I loved a lot of it. A lot of it got. I had a couple tears, honestly, a couple times. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so which one did you like?
I'm having just a little problem with the ending there about.
למה אתה מדבר על החיים ככה? למה אתה מזכיר שמות? למה צריכים דברים כאלה?
That's kind of my
On
issue.
what?
About, you mentioned names, you mentioned this guy such a Rasha, such a this. Everyone has haters. Everyone's going to try and bring someone down.
Rasha, it's a mitzvah from the Torah to publicize them.
To point them out. I understand, but
Publicize them. It's not that it's not publicizing them. Not publicizing them is an avera. Why? Because if someone's a rasha, and he's a machtia rabim, by not telling people, that means you're not warning them. So they could suffer his consequences for him. So now, for example, if you have a bank, let's say you have a bank.
You don't have to give me an example.
No, I'll give you a bank.
I understand what you're
And
coming
somebody you know works for the bank and he's a thief. If you don't tell the bank teller, so the bank, you're now a partner of the crime. Why? You knew he's a thief. You didn't tell us. He robbed the whole bank. We lost the whole bank now because of you.
Are you so 100% sure?
Well, I saw it in my own eyes. I don't say anything unless I'm 100% sure.
Oh
no, I
I can't put myself in a situation to call somebody out like that. I'm not even that perfect to say
if
they're not perfect.
Not about being perfect. It has nothing to do with being
אתה
perfect.
כזה מתוק, כזה טהור, היה לך כזה דברים טובים להגיד. דברים כאלה להוציא מהפה, זה לא מתאים לך.
No. It's not. It has not. No, that's the point. when a person is rebuking somebody, it's not about whether I'm perfect or not perfect. There's right, there's wrong. There's right, there's wrong. If somebody is a missionary, he's a missionary. It doesn't make a difference that he's generous. It doesn't make a difference if you're the most religious guy in the world. He's a missionary. That means he's considered toivat Hashem. He's considered disgusting to Hashem. If somebody goes out and makes public comments about against the Torah, and you keep it to yourself, and now everybody thinks, oh, this guy's tzaddik. They don't know that he's actually secretly saying things against the Torah. You become partner in the crime. No, it's not about... Because
to be your job.
Because there's a mitzvah in the Torah, 613 mitzvot in the Torah. One of the mitzvot in the Torah is Ocheach tochiach et amitecha velo tisa alav chet. There's a mitzvah in the Torah that you're obligated to rebuke, you're obligated to publicize this, or else you become part of the sin. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 52, says Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah was one of the Tanaim, was able to revive the dead. Somebody died, he can say, no, live. Goes back to life. That's that extent. They said in Shamayim, they danu oto lemita, chilul Shabbat. Said, what chilul Shabbat? It was Tana Kadosh. Says, yeah, but he saw his neighbor had a cow that still carried bells on Shabbat, and it's not allowed, and he didn't tell her anything. Because he didn't tell her anything, they counted as if he was the one that was the owner of the cow, and he violated Shabbat. So after he found out this, he did tshuva for the rest of his life. He had fasted until all of his mouth turned to black. Now you fast forward 2 more pages, Gemara Masechet Shabbat. It says that the Hashem only changes his decree in Shamayim once in history. Usually he makes a decision, that's it. He doesn't change his mind. He's not a human being like us. It says only one time he changed the decree. In the Bet HaMikdash, he said to the middot, to the malachim, go put a mark, a taf on all the tzaddikim, all the rabbis, all the tzaddikim, he called them. Put a taf. Why? Because I'm going to destroy the Bet HaMikdash, but then I'm not going to destroy. Midat Adin, the Yetzer Hara shows up, comes to him, he says, well, Hashem, wait a minute, you call all these rabbis tzaddikim, but they're not tzaddikim. They're not tzaddikim, Hashem. Why are they not tzaddikim, Yetzer Hara? He says, because they knew the truth, but didn't tell people. And according to your Torah, they are part of the crime.